compliments to the season because this is it until next year for me. So I want to make sure that I let all of you know. I hope you're going to have a safe and merry, pleasant Christmas holidays and New Year. Don't eat too much, don't drink too much, but do enjoy. And on a little personal note, for those of you out there who might be in the category who might be of danger, let me share with you some information. When I get information, I share information. As far as I'm concerned, it's not confidential or whatever. And I'm pointing out that if any of you have seen me lately, within the last, say, 5 days, I am limping. Okay. Um, this is Mary Moorhead, your host. I am limping because my right knee all of a sudden has decided that it doesn't like to bend, and it is very painful when I make it do that. Well, I found out yesterday because, hey, I just tell people, especially if you're a government employee or was a government employee, you're paying insurance. By God, when something don't feel right, go to the doctor. You're paying for it anyway. That's what insurance does. So I had an appointment, went to the doctor yesterday, and I was told this tests are still, results of tests are still outcome upcoming, but I was told that probably because I didn't hit my knee, I didn't fall down, I didn't do anything to cause it to be in any way damaged or injured. So I was told possibly I have gout. Now, the first thing I tell the woman is the only thing I know about gout is from some former co-workers, and it was always with the foot. I didn't know gout came up. I had could be in your knee. Well, I was told that it is an overabundance of red meat, shellfish, um, pork. These are the things, and alcohol. Okay, these are the things that if you eat too much over a period of time consistently, any of those things, they can cause this gout. Now I know that I once a week I get my roast pork, cancer wave, and advertise people, and I've been making a lot of because I love shrimp. So I know I'm guilty, but still waiting for the final lab results to come in to build the conclusion. But I have a feeling that's how it's going. And um, my doctor gave me some medication that I started on yesterday and that I got to take for the next 5 days. And I must admit that I was able to come up the steps here in the studio with without pain. So definitely the medication is working, but I am sharing the information for those of you out there who might be in the situation to ease up with the red meat, the roast pork, the shellfish. Okay, like I said, this is something I've been not but at least serving a plate a week. It would be roast pork, shrimp. Okay, so sharing that information, those of you who are there who are getting it, you know who you are, and you should know then what kind of adjustment you may have to make so that you don't get gout. And by the way, as I understand it, it can show up in any joint. So if you got maybe a elbow that hurting, hey, the seemingly that is possible too. The fair foot, your big toe, your whatever, hey, all that is possible. If you all of a sudden have pain where you're not used to having pain and you know you didn't do anything to cause that pain, it just appear. It might be gout. And all I'm saying to you is, hey, if you are a government employee or a former government employee, make an appointment, go see the doctor. Okay? And cause you nothing cause you're insured. Use your insurance. I don't understand and don't agree with people who pay in insurance, and now it's somebody going doctor. Then hey, then you're just throwing away money. But anyway, that's that. Okay. And before I forget again, the number here in studio 340-773-0390 or 773-0490. And I am expecting um don't forget this title. But at any rate, I am expecting Arthur Joseph, the traffic man. Pardon me, when he comes and introduce himself, he will give his proper title, but he is coming here with some of his team because there are changes, adjustments, and things that existing traffic rules and regulations that needs to be highlighted, needs to be impressed on at this time of the year with our St. Croix Crucian Christian Festival happenings. So there he will be here to make sure that he informs you of all of that soon. So and it's just traffic today. So if you have some concerns about some traffic issues that you have been seeing or that bothers you a little bit, well, just be prepared. You can call and question about them. That will be the open mic today. It's all traffic. But as I said, it is intended to bring you up to date and highlight the things that you have to keep in mind because I just heard some people making complaints where folks slump over half drunk behind a wheel. May know how that happening, but anyway, make sure you understand that if you see that, call 911, report the license plate, report the location, and so that somebody can immediately intervene and make sure that a situation like that doesn't go any further to cause any damage. But as I said, it's traffic. We're down dealing with the rules and regulations that exist, adjustments that maybe have been made for festival. But so anything traffic, Mr. Joseph going to answer to the anything traffic. Okay? So we just want to make sure he reach and he watching me sideways. You know, with a big cushion. Good afternoon, Arthur.
Good afternoon.
Please get your title because me forget it and I like tell him it's Arthur Joseph coming.
It's fine. But I am the commander for the traffic investigation. I'm a sergeant with the Bush Heights Police Department.
Yeah.
Good morning to you and your listening audience, whether it's Facebook, FaceTime. I don't know all the faces that they have, but Snapchat, chat. Good morning to all those who are tuned in. Good afternoon, I'm sorry, to all those who are tuned in. My voice ain't there all day yet. I'm trying to get my voice back. But,
you been singing?
No, I just had a little tiredness and fatigue setting on my throat and my voice. But I am here to answer any of your viewing or listening audience questions regarding traffic and answer your questions if you have any regarding the traffic and traffic in the territory, District of St. Croix specifically, because I am the commander in the District of St. Croix. My duties are a lot.
My concerns, I'm just interrupting because I can leave you freely to do as you want. But my concern is if there are any adjustments where traffic is concerned, whether it's a movement of traffic or parking of traffic or whatever, having to do with events and of the festival, if you will highlight those and anything else.
Very good question. Good afternoon again. We were required by the commissioner to put a traffic plan together. Sergeant Felto, the commander of the Special Operations Bureau, and myself. And so we did that, and we provided him that document via the chief's office. And that document kind of set the parameters for Juve, for festival, for any activity that's going to take place in the Frederick State County area. And the commander for the towns is Felto. Sergeant Kirk
Okay. So he
Felto.
coming out?
No. He is responsible only for the Christiansted and Frederiksted town and some of the stuff that goes on with the Jubilee Festival. However, we collaborate, so we don't need the two of us to actually, because we already short in manpower, and he has a lot going on.
Okay.
So it was easier for me to come and
No
speak
problem.
to you
As
and
long as we get
you and the
information.
listening audience. And what I'm going to tell you, he's going to tell you as well. So what happened in the town area is that, and specifically Frederiksted, you're going to follow the instructions and the signs. We bought a bunch of signs, and it's going to tell you the road is closed. Okay. If you can't read, then I employ that you listen to when the officer tell you that the road is closed, and we try to make sure that we can communicate to everybody whichever is best for them, because we know there are individuals that are either hearing impaired or have reading disability or different ailments. And so we thank you, Ms. Moorhead, for allowing us to come. So your listening and viewing audience could know that there are going to be parking restrictions in the town of Frederiksted. Those information are going to be sent out via our Director of Media and Communications, Mr. Glenn Drake and his staff. You would see those things in all media outlets. And we ask you to follow the instructions of the officer that you see at the at wherever position you view. And wherever you go in Frederiksted, you're going to see an officer. The officer might tell you, well, this road is closed. You'll also see a sign up, and you see arrows telling you where to go. And so just follow those instructions, because we try to impact the public as minimal as possible. So our road closures are not all day.
Okay.
It's just so that we can have the events, and then we quickly try to get whether it's vendors or revelers off the road and get the roads open, because we know that there's commerce that must take place. And I think that what makes the big difference with festival and carnival and whatever you have in other jurisdictions, even in Miami, when you go to Miami Carnival, is the people know and understand the importance of commerce, and that the business people don't mind that you have a brief interruption of their regular day-to-day business. But you have to keep in mind that that's how some people live. For example, Armstrong. If Armstrong was in Frederiksted town, Armstrong Ice Cream was in Frederiksted town, he could only take so much time out of his day that he's gonna lose business, because people are gonna be reveling. But he expects that the police department would have to open up traffic so that his regular customers can come in and seek and support his business. And so we're going to try to minimize the impact to our businesses in the town of Frederiksted.
Not looking to throw you off, but I was in Frederiksted the other day, and I noticed these orange blockades aligning the block on King Street between Market and Custom Street on the east side of the street only, and they have on them a paper that says no parking. And people are asking, what's that all about?
Okay, there are times that there are assignments or there are situations that are taking place that we don't have the time to actually explain. And according to the Virginians Code and in Title 23, the rules and regulations, the law allows us to just immediately close a road for public safety and to engage in whatever police matters that serves the best interest of the community. So not all the time you're going to get a notice or you're going to get an explanation.
Well, it don't close the road, but what it does is that it removes the parking on the other side of on King Street. And King Street is used for two-side parking.
And when you see that, and that's something that we're going to have to work on in terms of King Street, because one side parking is much more optimal for big trucks or vehicles to come in and still go out. You understand? And that's the problem. When you have a 24-foot wide road and you have a car take up at least 3-4 feet of each side, you make it a smaller road.
But
so we try to get away from that.
Why they have a concern. because the orange blockades are only positioned on the part of the King Street that doesn't have sidewalk, which is the wider section of King Street, as opposed to the upper
Well,
part that have sidewalk plus the two side parking.
but we agree that as you get further down on King Street,
Uh-huh.
heading from south to north,
Right.
it gets narrower.
Well,
By Custom House, as soon as you start to go down towards KFC,
yeah, once you
the
talk
road-
from Custom
Right,
House,
it gets
going
narrow.
to, yeah.
right? So,
But this
we're-
was from Market,
right.
okay, where,
Well, I don't know the particulars of that particular day, but I'm
um,
saying 99.9% of the times,
okay,
we don't have the time to explain
okay,
why we have to make adjustments to parking or road closures. There may be things going on that, in the interest of public safety, we have to make some changes and adjustments. But the law provides us the authority to do just that. And what
okay.
we want the public to know is that it is not something that we like to do. We don't like to close roads and stop commerce.
Mhm.
But sometimes, in the best interest of our assignments or what we need to do, we have to make sure that the road is closed, but there's no parking in a particular area. Just comply and
Okay.
find parking elsewhere. Sometimes we get angry because we're not comfortable anymore. We get comfortable with something being a certain way, and when we get pushed out of our comfort zone, we get angry. We call the radio, we call the newspaper, we call the police department, we cuss the police them. It's like when a traffic crash occurs and we decide to detour you. Why are you angry? You want to know what's going on down there because that's the only road you know. Okay, well, if we tell you go someplace else, everything in the Virgin Islands is parallel, especially in St. Croix. Queen Street, Queen Mary Highway, and Melvin H. Highway run along parallel to each other.
Mhm.
You can't go wrong. If you get lost here, you understand? Trying to drive on Melvin H. Evans and Queen Mary, something wrong with you.
Well,
And now you got a GPS. You don't have map no more.
mhm.
Nobody don't use map no more. You know?
Well, nobody
You-
never used to use my period.
Well, it's easy to understand the island if you come here. But
Though,
Peggy, the thing about parking, you're gonna see a lot of parking restrictions coming up between when the village starts and Juve all the way to January 6th. So I want people to understand it's not cheap to get your car towed. You're there in the village having a good time. You know that where you park is gonna create a problem, but you bad. So you park there because nobody gonna touch your car. Trust me, it's gonna be removed.
and this is where I want us to start because village open the 26th, right?
Something like that.
Okay. So what I wanted is if there the particulars where parking is concerned in Frederiksted, in around the village area, whatever that you have that you can give the public.
Well, I
now,
don't have it
so
on me right now, but I could tell you it generally. Let me
okay.
tell you this generally. Be wise. If you see a sign that says no parking between signs, it means between the sign to the north and the sign to the south, no parking. Or the sign to the east and the sign to the west, don't park in there. Because we're gonna tow you. And we're gonna call the wrecker, the tow truck company, have them remove your car, we notify 911, then you have to pay. A tow is not cheap anymore. Tow used to be like $25 and $35. It used to be $75. No, it's not cheap. And even a parking citation no longer is cheap. So you don't want to be giving away money when you could just make the right decision. When you see a no parking sign, you can park somewhere else and walk. Walking is good for us.
Let me ask for the benefit of the public. Is there going to be a designated parking area for the village when it opens?
Based on what I understand, we are working feverishly with Public Works
Yeah.
and parks to make sure we find parking in and around Frederiksted town. We know we're going to have a lot of people, you understand? And this is where it gets really difficult when agencies have to speak to each other, and we're trying to get once that is done, we'll get that information out.
So there's
Okay.
no looking at the field area there.
We are looking at the field. That's why I said parks,
Okay. Now
and
you
public
said
works.
town, see?
right? The
And that's
Frederiksted
the
town.
limit.
Well, okay,
Can
that
we-
it extend to that area as well. When I say town, I'm
Past
looking
Band
at
Bridge.
past the bridge. You understand? We're talking about all the way to Sandbar, the old Sandbar, we have alcoholic or whatever the place name. So as far as that end, to that end, and we'll talk about partnering with individuals with private property to allow us to extend the parking further out. You understand? And so there is a plan to make sure that we partner up and get parking for individuals. If we have to lay tailing down, and that's why Public Works is involved, Parks is involved, and the police department is involved. Sergeant Felto is spearheading, trying to bring all these partners together so that we can find parking for individuals during the Juve, after the Juve, during the festival village, and so forth. But I am encouraging individuals, if you can carpool, if you can utilize whatever other means of public or private transportation to come to the village, and so you don't have to look for parking for everybody. You partner up, you carpool, one person, many people jump in the car and go down. And you park, let's say you want to park outside a town, you understand, someplace else by one of the back streets, them or down by Dorch Beach, and one person drive everybody up there, and then you jump in the car and you got to be innovative, you understand, so that when you come into town, and it's just, everything is walking distance. So you can park as far as you want to park and walk into Frederiksted town, understand, and enjoy yourself and go about your business without having to deal with the cost of losing a vehicle to the police department citing you for parking someplace where we said is no parking. And it's no parking because, and I think it's important, Peggy, that we explain to our viewing and listening audience the reason why it's important to follow these instructions. Many of us watch what we call active shooters. It happened in Valdez, in Mexico, in Texas. It happens in different schools throughout the United States. It happened at malls. It just had one with some, I think it's Australia, you understand? We cannot assume because we have transits, people are coming in and going out. We can't get so comfortable to believe
that will never happen here.
It will never happen here.
Right. Agreed.
And so when we put out these parking restrictions, we take into consideration something of this nature can occur. How do we protect our citizens? How do we apprehend this individual if we're letting everybody do what they want?
Gotcha.
You understand? So when something happens, everybody gonna start running. And we have to figure out who are we looking for. Understand? And so we want people to be safe. We have visitors that are coming. And so we have to put plans in place, and not because we don't enforce it every day. That means that now it's festival and we say no parking on this curb. We're not going to tell you no parking within 15 feet of the curb. We say no parking on no curb. If you park on the curb and we think it's going to impede the normal flow, or obstruct the normal flow of traffic, we're going to move your car and you'll talk to the judge. You understand? Because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that emergency vehicles can come in and go out without any problems. Okay, that the fire department have access to fire hydrants, that the police department have access to shut off a road with the police cars, and the officers can cordon off an area if we have to deal with a suspect or suspects. You understand? That we can triage individuals if we have to create an area where people, we have multiple injuries. You understand? That EMS and EMS fire can come in and not be worrying about somebody screaming over their backs. Oh, that's my sister. You can't do nothing. Leave the EMTs do their job. You understand? Now it's not time to panic. And so we feel that if we explain all of this to you and our listening and viewing audience hear this, they will come with the understanding, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're really trying to make sure that we're safe before, during, and after every event. And this don't just go for village. The traffic plan is designed to make sure that people continue to come in and go out freely. But it's also requiring us to make sure that you don't create a hazard. A hazard meaning that you park your car in an area where it causes other people now to bottleneck. People can't turn. The taxi van them can't move. The trucks that coming in to deliver something can't do nothing because you park your car there. And we don't want to hit your car. We're going to tow your car. And you're going to have to call 911 and give them your plate number if you remember it, or your name, or tell them where you park your car. You understand? And you could pick it up from somewhere else, but because it will be removed from the town area.
Let me ask another question. is the blockage on Strand Street that stops you from going past Market.
Mhm.
Is that going to be is that a permanent blockage?
Not permanent. Like I said, during the
When I
every
say permanent, I mean throughout the, because I know
not
it's
permanent
there.
throughout. It's every event
Uh-huh.
is unique.
Okay, but
And so
I thought I understood that was there because of the situation with cruise ship and the Navy ships.
okay, so
So
that's
they
what I'm
didn't
saying.
want
It's
anyone
not
going down that last
it's
block.
and for security reasons,
Uh-huh.
the port authority don't have no more control over the port per se.
Mm-hmm.
It's patrolled by police from the port authority, but the military is there. So for security reasons, they have to make sure they check every vehicle that's going onto the port to
Uh-huh.
deliver goods and services. Now we also have Strand Street, of course. You can go down Strand Street right now.
Yeah.
Understand?
As
But
far as First Bank. That's
right,
why I
as
talked
far as
about where
First
is
Bank, where you
Market
see the
Street.
sign that says taxi only.
Right.
Understand? You would end up going down further for only taxis to
Mhm.
drop off military personnel who
Yeah.
are visiting our shores and having a leisure time. So now that's gonna widen all the way back up
Uh-huh.
towards the Fred area. You
Yeah.
understand? Because what's happening is that we gotta line up the taxi them on the day that you have Juve and cruise ship to pick up and go out. So
Mhm.
taxis are not gonna be sitting there all day. They're gonna pick up passengers and they're gone. Everybody's gonna be going out towards Posse Garden Avenue. They're gonna take Veterans Drive, go up by Mali, and then cut Posse Garden Avenue and go around to. They could go around to Concordia Road if they come out from Fisher Street, make the right to go over where Christian live and go towards Frederickston the back way. You understand? Through Concordia and through the back. So and then they could go out of town, either which way to Emancipation Drive or Percy Garden Avenue. We have spoken to and we'll continue to speak to tourism, speak to the taxi drivers. The traffic bureau will be down there to help guide them, and we will be patrolling the roads to make sure nobody don't park and block up a road. Okay? Because if you do stop in anywhere of those areas, we're gonna be there to tell you keep it moving. Understand? Anybody who parked to obstruct the normal flow of traffic will be told at their expense. And that's why we want to thank you and your owners and management of staff here at WSTX for allowing us an opportunity to communicate with your viewing and listening audience. We know you don't reach everybody, but each one will tell another one that listen.
And there are those who miss that they go on Facebook
And they
in
see,
order to
okay,
see
it's
and-
recorded.
Yes.
Okay, so I know not to use any foul language. I don't think that'll get me some charges, eh? Poor me. But yeah, so definitely, we want to make sure that we keep the public informed fully.
You know
And
why
any
I
questions
mentioned that
they
though?
have, they can ask me.
Because really, my personal position would be to
Right.
the audience, don't use Strand Street at all for the holidays.
No, don't,
Okay.
don't.
Because once you get to First Bank, you have to make the right turn to head east to go over to King Street.
Right,
And that is a jam
that's a job.
because there are people who always park on that and the four sides of the corner. And you can't see up, you can't see down. And many times it's even difficult to turn left to go down King Street or right to go up King Street. Usually the only opening is to go straight across like you're heading for the vegetable market.
And that's why
And the safest thing is really don't go Strand Street
don't go
at
Strand
all.
Street. And if you and the reason why you'll be prohibited from using Strand Street, to your very point.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about something actively taking place.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get in
Mm-hmm.
and get people out?
Mm-hmm.
If we allow people to do what they want, if we don't have a plan, if we don't enforce the parking restrictions in Fredericksted town,
Yeah.
how do we do that? Somebody could call me and tell me, we're gonna fly people out with drones. We gotta make sure that there's a road
Yeah.
or two that we can come in and go out and perform our duties as emergency personnel. No,
Yeah.
we have more people than we have emergency personnel,
Mm-hmm.
but we have the power of the law, and we're going to use it
Yeah.
to make sure that we are keeping safe the people who want us to keep them safe.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure we guide the people that want guidance, and those who don't, they will have to deal with the consequences of their decisions and their actions.
Yeah.
But we're not going to let the small few that are interested in chaos and confusion
Yeah.
control the majority who's interested in making sure they have comfort and they have a wonderful time with the festivities in Frederiksted. There are more people that are coming to Frederiksted, that are coming to St. Croix from Atlanta, from New York, from Chicago, from LA to have fun.
Yeah.
Understand? Than they are coming to create confusion. I have had people tell me they're coming back next year because they want to make sure they come and stay in Frederiksted. And this is good for Frederiksted.
Yeah.
You understand? It's one time a year that everything, all roads lead to Frederiksted. And it's not a competition between the towns. It's a good thing when you have the port that the military is using. There's lots, and I'm interested in seeing and hearing how much money this territory pulled in. You understand? Over this quarter. That's what I'm interested in finding out. And what we're going to do with that money. You understand? But most importantly, from a traffic standpoint, it is very important that folks drop folks off, park as far away from the town, Strand Street, the village area as you possibly can. You don't need two people to park a car.
Well, and this is your host, Mary Moorhead, had nothing to do with traffic. That's suggestion, folks. Unless you need to use the ATM at First Bank or the other one just to block up. I don't know which one that is.
It's right at King Street.
Yeah.
I think there's one on King
No,
Street.
there's another one on Strand Street, just up a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the two on Strand Street, that one on First Bank. Unless you come into the ATM, please, I suggest don't drive Strand Street because it's really a jam up. If you want to just go and lime on the waterfront, looking at the cruise ship if it's in, or looking at the service ship if it's in, park someplace else and walk over to Strand Street because it is really a bottleneck once you get down to Market Street and got to come out from Market Street by King.
It wouldn't be a bottleneck because we're not allowing any traffic on Strand Street but taxi.
But here's the bottleneck. When you turn on to Market, they park on both sides right up to the corner.
But that's now. But I'm saying you won't have a bottleneck because Sergeant Felter is making sure we clear all them areas because we are aware that during the events, once we have events taking place, we're going to make sure those areas are clear because we cannot afford, if we need to get every side street, going down into Frederiksted, there's a portion of it that you cannot park on it because we need to be able to access the public.
Yeah.
We need in the event of an emergency.
Not as wide as the main street.
Exactly. So we need to, and so the people we're asking, if you live in Frederiksted town, make it known to us that this is your property, so we can make accommodations for you to make sure that you get a particular parking permit, so that the officers who are patrolling don't tow your car. We will work with the citizens who live in Frederiksted town. Now, if you got a business in town,
contact number or something to give them
Peggy,
for those people.
Peggy, they can always call 911. That's the one. That's
just to ask for that.
I cannot give you my traffic number.
No. I'm just.
I would give it to you.
The office don't have a number.
I don't. I will tell you this.
Okay.
You can call my number 277-1970. I will do the best I can to address your concerns.
No, I would just because you have on Queen Street that housing project area that somebody might be listening. I want to take you up on the situation.
Right, and the thing is, if you live there, you understand, you don't park in the street anyway. You park off the street. Now, if there's no parking, because and we asking people, if you don't live in what the place name off the top of my head is.
Yeah, I know that's the very one, and I'm thinking of
Lagoon Complex. If you live in Lagoon, if you don't live in Lagoon Complex, don't park in the parking spaces down here in Lagoon. Leave it for the people who live there. Whether they go to the store and come back, because if they call us, we're gonna make sure that they get the parking space because that's where they live.
Yeah,
you understand? That's not where you live. And find someplace else to park. You understand? We're gonna have a conversation with the churches. You understand? If folks can park there, we can provide security. Officers will patrol the areas with the churches in that particular area. We're gonna do our part to try and provide safe parking, accessible parking.
Church has a sizable yard.
Right. Yeah. For everybody when they come into Frederiksted town. It's our town, it's our island, and it's our time to have some fun. and we don't want anyone to have to be told. That's the last thing, because we had to tow a young lady the other day, and the price that they quoted me, you understand? My knees started to shake, because you don't want to be told, and you don't want the citation. Of course, the good legislature have increased the fines for parking and negligent driving. So those fines are significant now, especially in a tough economy. But I think even though we're doing good, I think that not everybody's doing good. But you don't want to receive a citation.
Money got to go for gift insurance.
Right. So I want to let people know that if they want to know why is it the police have authority over the roads. Title 20, Section 101 of the Virgin Islands Code speaks volumes to that. It says, and I'm going to read a quote, public road or highway includes all roads. Again, public roads or highway includes all roads, highway, and parking areas open for the use by the public. So that's crystal clear. As long, you get an example, Armstrong Ice Cream, his parking area, it's open for the use by the public, right?
Yeah.
So it's public road. Police have authority. Sunny Isles.
Okay.
That's why we can go in and issue citations and deal with traffic crashes in those areas. Those are not, while they're owned by individuals. Once the law supersedes everything else, it says once you allow that for public use, it's public road. So we have that to enforce. Okay. So I don't know what number your listening audience can call, and I can answer any of their questions that's traffic related, or you have received a text or something via
folks,
Facebook.
Please,
I'll be glad to answer
keep out
your
of
questions.
PTCC here, 773-0390 or 773-0490, naturally area code 340. Any question you have concerning traffic, parking, or whatever, this is the man to question now.
Baby, I know that one of the second largest call for service is traffic.
Okay.
The first number one call for service in the police department is domestic.
Okay, hold on, let me take this call. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes.
Question for the commander.
Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Commander Davis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Season greetings. I commend the job you guys did on the strawberry stretch. However, I would like you to complete the job there at the north end of that stretch from the north going north.
Okay.
You following me?
Yes.
Yeah. You saw you got the striping at the south end.
Right.
Where you can give us where you give us a better sense of direction and as far as which part to
right.
Your position on the route.
Okay.
People finish up the last end for us.
Right. You're on point, and thank you very much for your point and your statement. As a matter of fact, the reason why that has not been done is because there's construction that has to take place in that particular area, and so they don't want to waste. You don't want to start something that you still got to dig back up and fix over. Because of the building that's going there, and we have to slow down traffic. We have to. Right now, it's almost like a four-way stop, and so you know what you do on a four-way stop. The person that comes first goes out first. Everybody must come to a stop, not a road, not your wheels them rolling and you say your stop. It's a rolling stop. I don't know how you will call that a rolling. A rolling stop is not a stop. You're in stop. So we thank you for pointing that out. We're gonna,
It's a Hollywood stop.
A Hollywood stop. Okay. So thank you very much. But they're going to be working on that, and as soon as the construction is done, and we partner with the building owners, and he got to do his part, we're going to do ours to make sure that is a complete traffic correction in that particular area with the striping, and if it needs a light or something else, we will make sure that. I think they're studying that right now to make sure the engineers at Public Works get it right, so that we can make sure the public get it right as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're all right. Thank you.
All right. We have another call. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a question.
Go ahead, the commander's listening.
Can you hear me?
The commander's listening, we hear you.
Okay, can everybody live in a certain area have a special bag or thing to put on the windshield to let them know that they live in this area, say that there's information to park there?
Okay, I see what you're saying. This is in reference to Frederickstead Town.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I know for sure that we have special permits that we're gonna sign off on for the vendors that are coming in town. And if you live in Frederickstead and you don't park in the street, do you?
No. I just said a recommendation.
Okay, right.
Do that.
I get, yeah. What we are going to do, we encourage anybody, if your parking space, if your property is being occupied by someone that you didn't authorize to occupy that space, you give us a call.
Right.
And that's why we appreciate Mr. Rains and his entire family and Peggy and all those folks for inviting us to their radio program so we can let the public know. We will not come to debate whether that parking space, you should have used it or not. You don't live there. Like we had a situation where a man parked in a man's driveway and walk off and gone to enjoy the boat parade. He just parked in a man's driveway because he figured, well, so he paying the price. Today, he's still trying to get money to get his car back. Okay? So we are saying, do not park.
Only give a permission for when a ticket saying that give permission for this person to park this car here.
Well, that's between you and that person you give him permission to. But I'm saying to you, I wouldn't be giving nobody, if I live in Frederickstead and I know parking done tight already, me giving nobody permission to park in my driveway.
He's suggesting that the police department has some kind of a sign that they can put, the owners can put in their dashboard.
Well, the owners don't need that. That's their driveway. Once we come there, we know that the car is registered to your house, your plat number, and your picture in the driver's license system. So it's not Peggy owned. And if it's not Peggy, what Peggy doing there? She live with you? She live with you. She in there. And when we talk to you and you tell us no, we're gonna move the car. No, you have a guess. You give, as long as your guest car is not obstructing the normal flow of traffic. Your guests can park as tight as they want in your yard, right in front of your entrance. That's You're not gonna complain your guest. It's your guest.
But we got
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carla. You know what you're forgetting though, Arthur, is that especially on Queen Street, you have the homes on the one side that have a parking space, but you have the homes, the historic homes that are on the west side of the street that don't necessarily have a driveway.
That's true. And that's why when we said no parking, if you live there, make contact with us so we can make accommodations, we can identify whose vehicles, because in some areas, Sergeant Felto has decided there's only going to be parking on one side.
Okay.
So, and if that is fluid. It's a plan, but it all depends on what's taking place. It all depends on what we see before us. So we have not locked ourselves into a plan that's rigid. It's a fluid plan. It's always a document that we can revise, or the officer will make the appropriate discretionary decisions so to ensure public safety and that we have no one being told because of not knowing that it's creating a hazard.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Peggy. Good afternoon, Commander. How you are doing this most beautiful afternoon in most beautiful place in the world?
We feeling beautiful.
Thank you very much for your call.
I am glad that you are happy. So am I. I just want to add this year, right? The week of the can we just try to do it? When the ITV, they black out the road, the bottom cone and the thing, they gave us a start date and a drop dead date, right? And they cone them. But when the drop date come, they don't come and remove the cone. They really got to come and push them aside. And I don't want to know, you could put them in the way, I have to take them out of the way. So
Okay. We didn't. First of all, we didn't put them in the way. We put them as a means of trying to control the traffic flow. And I agree with you. Once the time is up, and I'm writing it down, cones need to be removed.
Yeah, that's called, I mean, we don't adhere to the rules and everything, and then sometimes they same cone out of pool right there by King Street, by Remy. Sometimes you put them out so far out that even a car occupying less space than the cone itself.
Okay.
May you hold on, but may you let me make a clarification because you saying cone, but a cone and a block is two different things.
Yeah, the barriers and the barriers.
Oh, the
barriers,
The
right.
barriers.
And I thought you meant that because the cone is a little small thing, but I know what they got on King Street now is them orange barrier thing.
Okay, I'm making a note of that so we can address that.
They have a combination, even the cone.
But we are.
And again, that's for them because they're doing a great job on a wheel. But we don't work for you, just work for you too.
Thank you very much. And we know each other for a very long time.
And he controls King Street.
You've known me for a very long time.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you calling and telling us what you see that is a concern to you. And of course, we have to make some adjustments. But we also ask the public to, when we remove those barricades, use some common sense and not just stop your car, walk away, and cause traffic hazards or traffic to can't move because you got in the store. You say, I go in there for a minute, just park someplace else. And so we
I know
say
Mr.
one.
Beja and his colleagues are trying to keep things, but you can't do too much with people because then it causes conflict.
Well, that's where we come.
But I have been there and see them try to catch people to nicely, comply with the righteous way of doing things, and they can't have a push but so far.
Okay.
But that's why. But those fellows, they can shoot passy, but they does help out.
Yes, I see that. Certainly, Peggy, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your viewing and listening audience and try to provide them some guidance as to what the Traffic Investigation Bureau is responsible to do. And part of that responsibility is to communicate with each and every citizen that lives here in the District of St. Croix.
I was hoping to get some specifics, at least for certain days, if not less, insofar as the movement of traffic and the parking.
Well, so, the days that we have festival, there's going to be parking restrictions that are going to be posted for a specific time. And so you'll see those signs. And there are going to be areas that, of course, by the bridge, you can't park on the bridge. You're going to see the sign. We just got these signs up. Sergeant Felton and his team are going to put up those signs. For parade, you're going to be told where you can and cannot stand or park. You understand? Each day is going to bring a different approach because we don't control, we're not expecting the military to be back anytime soon, but they may. We don't know. All we can tell you is that when they come, we have to make changes. We have to make accommodations to ensure that they come in and they go out safely. You understand? For the day of the food fair, there's a plan in place. We've heard their concerns of the vendors. We've provided them a permit for one car parking for that one vehicle. We can't give them more than that because, of course,
we're
gonna work on. Sergeant Felton is very skillful at finding places to put cars. He never got to put them on his own back. He put them in the park.
That must even pay point them. You got people who have go down and park to prepare to come down with the Juve and then just jump in the car.
Right. Well, you're not going to be able to do that because we're going to be clearing a lot of the Frederick Town area because
these signs going up at that early enough time for people to know.
Because we have and we've had some pushback. I must in our fairness.
I know plenty pushback.
We had some pushback. The commissioner held his ground. You understand? I'm not going to disclose who, but we had some pushback, and the officials that were pushing back, they wanted the date to change. The commissioner was adamant that this is the date he chose to allow and his partners with the festival and everybody, the 31st, and we're going to do our best. All hands are going to be on deck to make sure that the Juve goes off. We got the Mombiju Juve. We got the Juve on the big Juve on the 31st. And so we're going to make sure it goes off without a hitch and that we clear the road. And we're telling you, if you come in Frederickstead for the Juve, when you're done, come down King Street. Don't mull because we're clearing the road. Because we need to open up for the food fair. You understand? That area is going to be open up for people like yourself, the elderly folks who enjoy. People like yourself. I didn't say you, like you. You're not the only one, Peggy.
Because I mean,
have a smile in
like I just told the people before you came, I just found out that there's certain foods now I got to stay away from because it has gout. And it might be that gout is what got me right. You don't want to bend.
You did tell me right, you don't want to bend.
Yes, I just started lately. I find out yesterday that I didn't even know you could get gout in the knee. But the doctor told me if you eat too much red meat, too much pork, too much shellfish, and I love my shrimp, that's what happened. So now I got to adjust my diet. I share that with people so they move out. They know because, Christmas time, we're looking for everything we like and we want to overdo.
You can suffer a little bit for the season.
No.
Take one for the team.
Okay. But my thing is, I ain't looking to deal with IO on that particular. This is the first time I'm going to miss food here. Being perfectly answer.
We can come and pick you up and take you down.
That's all right. I could miss one. I'm 77. I've seen a lot of food here.
All right. So,
so I leaving it for the younger generation to go and maneuver how they choose.
Also, Peggy, the Traffic Bureau, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my team. I have starting from, we have call signs. So I have 4-2, which is Dauda Benjamin. I have 4-3, which is Jada Christopher. I have 4-4, which is Jermaine Hanley. I have 4-5, which is Shaverna Charan. And I have 4-6, which is Curtis Cornelius. Johnny, actually, but we call him Curtis Cornelius. So that's my team. It's small, but they're very effective. They work hard. We have the Serenade coming up on the 19th. So that's Thursday into Friday. And that's going to be in Mid-Island. We want to thank WTJX for sponsoring for the past 20 years. And we've been doing it for 20 years. And you've been seeing me for 20 years, Peggy. You remember when I was this young police officer. And I would tell you, Peggy, I'm afraid to say what I have to say. And once I'm not lying, it doesn't matter to me how people feel. But I love my blue uniform. I still have it in my closet, done press. They only have to say put it up. And it's on. It's on. That's all they have to tell me. I am one of those people. I have my hat. I love my hat. All they have to say is fine. Let's go back. Let's put it back on. And I'm ready to rock and roll. As a matter of fact, when you see me to the legislature, you may notice I have on my white shirt, and my blue pants, and my gold hat. My blue hat with my gold emblem. Because that's, to me, symbolizes the difference between a police and a police. It brings certain authority with it.
Yeah.
And so even if some of us may not be in the same shape, you understand? But it brings, you could wear it with that understanding that it's bring a level of respect. And it's just a matter of making the decision. They never decommissioned it, so I can put it on. But in trying to be uniform, you understand? I try to make sure I stick within the boundaries of, the police department rules and procedures.
So we don't think of the white shirt. We love the white shirt. Me and Betty, whenever we see my white shirt, we just make sure to compliment whoever wearing it.
Yes, I like the white as well.
But I have a question because you might be the one to know. Crucian Recon Trump. When is that?
I think Dr. Peterson, he sent me a text and I have to look.
Because people are asking me and I want to know myself.
I
because it so happened that the 6th fall in the week. And the festival schedule stops with this January 3rd. Because, we know Crucian Recon is not part of the fest. Yeah. So, but nobody is saying And
Let me.
Yeah.
I would. You will have to talk to your good friend out of Frederick State, Dr. Arthur Peterson.
you know
If
what
he's
wrong with
listening.
that. It's an
I saw him
that is
to
the,
one of the serenade,
yeah.
and I was telling him, this is what we need to do. And actually, not the serenade. I'm wrong. I saw him to the tree lighting in Christiansted that we
Okay.
just had, and I was telling him, let's get this thing going. Give me the information. I need to know what the date
If
is.
anybody
Um,
listening knows something about the Crucian Rican event,
Well,
please give a call right now.
that's truly the last lap
Yeah.
for everybody, and it has a bigger crowd than the Juve in Frederiksted.
Well, like that kind of money become missing. That is the one thing I receive in fact.
Peggy, you need to come into Pusha Weekend when they turn the corner, because you cannot. I don't want
No. I don't build Crucian Rican from Arabian Trust, you know.
Peggy.
Every
I
year.
am strongly suggesting
What's up, you're saying what?
that when you doctor your knee, you come from the corner right where Hospital Street and Company Street meet. You can start from there, because your knee is not good, and we don't want you to become, cry for injuries. That's a long haul, and you just say you're 77. You're not going to the food field. So what are you doing with Pusha Weekend?
I slow the pace.
Oh, because we're gonna chip down the road.
I just slow the pace. But hello, I got to Crucian.
You are Betty.
Hey, no, Bettina don't miss. She don't even miss. She don't get in that one. She just stay with West.
Oh, she stayed Felix there. Okay. So we're looking forward to any questions anyone have regarding parking in Frederiksted. You know what's going to take place. Crucial Weekend is separate. You could, you park up by Times Square, and there's areas and you just
I
stay.
park anyway.
Do not park on King Street and on Company Street when you hear the date for Crucial Weekend, because I will be out there early enough in the morning towing cars.
Well, I don't park up by the church.
But that's fine, as long as you're not anywhere
No,
where we are.
I just park up
As
by
long
the
as you
church.
see the no parking sign,
Yeah.
it gets worse. Some people who live on King Street, all
Yeah.
the way up by the Moravian Church area, we give them a blight.
Yeah.
But because we move past that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
No,
once you get down
park
into
by
King
Catholic
Street,
church.
don't, because we're not trying to go around your car. We're gonna tow the cars. So we ask people who live there to park in some parking spaces that are available to them, or we put you in a parking lot for now the government building that we bought, First Bank, over there by Prince Street. So once you're not on King Street, you'll be fine. And so we're just encouraging folks not to park in those particular areas, because the towing fee is expensive. I must say that the towing fee is expensive. I don't know if the towing industry is regulated, but the cost is
Probably
exorbitant.
not. I don't
Okay,
think so.
so
That's totally private. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
So
they're and times
once we
like
call
these,
them, they're justified in towing you.
and times like these, people don't make up a bill.
Right. So we're trying to discourage you
Yeah.
from getting yourselves involved in a situation where we issue the citation and you are also told for obstructing the normal flow of traffic.
Now tell me about Juvenile. Where at what time is the traffic going to be blocked off coming down Emancipation Drive into town on the morning for Juvenile?
Well, you just said it. From the time we are assigned to assemble, there'll be units that are in advance combing that roadway to make sure there's nobody parked. And if you park, we're telling you now.
I'm just trying to
Excuse me.
figure out what time the listening audience should be told. Instead of going down Queen Mary, to say you want to just drive into town,
You're not gonna
go
pass. You're not gonna pass us because we're gonna block you out.
and that is
You're
why.
gonna be able to go to Percy Garden Avenue and further down.
But
But you're not gonna. It's just like parade day. On the parade day, I'd usually be at that intersection for Hannah's Rest and Emancipation. So once you see my vehicle there and you see the sign that says road closed, you understand? Don't try to go around. You might be able to go around and go across to Mars Hill and come from Mars Hill across to Percy Garden Avenue. But that will be quickly shut off.
And that's
So we
that's not positive. So if anything, if you're coming down Melvin Evans, be prepared to make the left turn there on the corner by the traffic light within the
Right,
section.
and then I make the right to Percy
And
Garden. I
make
mean,
the
you
right
could
to
go further down
Right.
by
Or turn off at Good Hope intersection and just go straight across to take the
Concordia
Lagrange
Road.
into town.
yeah, you go Concordia Road and going to town.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
It's less headache for you.
We got that. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The gentleman that's there, I guess, with the police dealing with.
Hello, excuse me. Hola, Mr. Nate. The gentleman is Traffic Commander Arthur Joseph.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I didn't know his position. I didn't want to call him sergeant. Traffic commander, yes. Okay. Now,
This is Charles Hollywood Nims.
You all were just talking about records and maybe they're being privately regulated. Let me just say something. I'm St. Thomas. I don't know about St. Croix. Some police officers own record companies who have interest in them. I myself have interest in record companies. But years ago, the situation had got so much out of hand that these guys were picking up people's cars and they end up keeping those cars. I remember one high-ranking officer get himself in problems with the law because there was a truck that he took and he really got himself in problems with it. I think he had to end up resigning. I mean, I'm just saying this because it is something that has happened. Okay, so I just thought I would mention that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your comments. So Peggy,
That's in Thomas. We don't compare here like that.
I don't know if any police officer have any interest in any record service here in the district of St. Croix, right? Those record services are independent individuals who have invested in their future by owning a record, and they license themselves, and I wish them the best. But I get the comment and the concern, but I don't know if that situation existing here in St.
I don't know either. So we will blank that. But
So
as I
we'll
was saying
continue to
before,
remind you. I know that we spoke a lot about the village, the parking for Juve, the parking for Serenade is never an issue, but we discourage you from parking in town on the 23rd, the 22nd into the 23rd. We're gonna be coming out of town with WTJX as our flagship sponsor for the Serenade, starting from Times where we leave Annettem House. We're gonna come up here by Times Square, Sunday Market Square, and then we're gonna head up to WTJX. So all traffic will be rerouted that morning away from the
and now what day is that? The 19th?
The 19th is the next one. The 23rd is the last one. That's the last day for the Serenade. Okay, that's gonna be in the Christian Study area where we go to the Shang family and we go to the Hendricks family, and then from there we go up to WTJX, which is our last stop.
Okay.
And so they have pajamas. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yes, I saw them.
And they're very comfortable, by the way.
But
a lot of people want them.
Well, hello. I just thought those of us who have been from the very giddy up.
Yes, you can have one. For
You
a cost of
understand?
$55.
And
From the giddy up? What's your face? What do you mean from the giddy up?
from the time Serenade was Serenade. Even before Serenade was Serenade.
So you're saying because you've been around.
You're lucky this might be better enough time and she can't to back me up. But I have a concern.
Yes.
I don't know if it has to do with traffic. I guess it should be, but those cameras that I see around now positioned by the traffic lights, I'm asking that if they're not operable, that please that the police department do whatever is necessary, if it's an appropriation or whatever, to get to the budget Senate committee and get that appropriation to get those things functioning so that you can issue those like they do on the mainland, that when you go to register or that it comes in the mail, a citation because you ran the light or whatever.
You're talking about several things. And first, let me answer the first concern that you have.
Okay.
They're operable.
Okay.
They're going to be utilized for this security and safety of our community.
Okay.
and to identify individuals who are committing infractions or who have committed infractions and to address those individuals. That's the first thing. So it's something that we have a center where we have people reviewing those cameras. We can pull footage and identify vehicles that we're looking for. We have some federal partners involved with that as well, where we can, if we have a particular vehicle that we're looking for, we can find out when and where you're at.
But the part I'm asking about is like they do in the States, when you do, they send
No,
you.
that is a different thing. That ain't come up yet. That
Okay.
requires a lot more ingenuity, a lot
And
more
that is what I
collaboration.
want. I'm asking for to happen.
That there is a company that's willing to do that, and I've spoken to them, but we have to first, it's baby steps. We have to first make sure that the system is working the way it should work. But what's even more important is that, it is important for the legislature to truly work hand in hand with the police department and give us what we need so we can do our jobs. Right now, I am advocating that the legislature they just increased the fines, but they didn't address all fines. And so that's the thing, they only addressed the fines that were labeled in the book, in the VI code. But there are other things that they needed to do to allow other fines to not be outside the scope of the schedule that they increased. And so it's right now, it's illegal not to have your front license plate on your front and rear of your vehicle. Some people like to put them in the dashboard. I am discouraging people from doing that because in a crash, if you ever touch, it's metal, it's aluminum, and it can become a projectile in a crash. Whether you get spin around or you get a roll over, it can become a projectile, it can dislodge, and it can cause fatal injury to the passengers in the vehicle. It is not where you put your license plate. The license plate, every vehicle that is manufactured can have a plate mounted on the front and one on the rear. Some people buy these expensive cars and they figure, well, my car look ugly to put on a plate. Well, hey, news flash. From the time you drive that car on a public road, a stone gonna chip it, a dog gonna run under it, and somebody gonna hit you if you don't watch it. So it's gonna look ugly then. But the key thing is to put your plate on the front and on the rear because you can get cited. But why is that important thing? It's important because if you're a law-abiding citizen, you want to follow the law. Because when someone steals your car and you say, well, the thief my Toyota truck, but you never put the plate on the front of the car, can the police eyes curve to see on the dashboard? But when you give us the plate, we can't see the plate on the car. We're going to be looking for a Toyota with no plate that you're giving us. But you're going to say your Toyota don't have no plate? So how are we going to know which one is it, the car that we're looking to stop? So if you are a law-abiding citizen, you do what you're supposed to do.
All right.
You put your plates on the front and on the rear.
Let me speak for the law-abiding retirees, okay? Because we have a different concern. I don't know what it is with certain cars. Some way or the other, the front, where the license plate is supposed to go, is different to the back.
Okay.
It's easier to put on the back plate, but not as easy to put on the front.
You can put
And
on
I would admit that I happened to have a friend at the DMV the same day that I was getting my license plate that assisted to take off my old one and put on the new one.
Good.
Otherwise than that, I would have had the new one going down the road someplace to find somebody to help me put on the front, because there's something different about the front and the back.
Well, what happened is that you can go to any one of those sites online and order the bracket for each of your car. They sell bracket for every car that's manufactured. They have a bracket for it. Okay, whether it's a Beamer, an Audi, a Toyota, a Ford, it does not matter. There's a license plate holder designed for the front and the rear of your vehicle. Now, the importance of that is if your car, Peggy, for the seniors, if your car, you go into one of the supermarkets and you come out and your car guard, you call the police. Immediately we have to run the plate. But we know your plate is attached to your name. So we can see your driver's license, we can see your name. Thank God to Director McIntosh and all what she's done to BMV. So we know what your plate says. but your plate is not on your car.
Mm.
It's on the back of the car, but not on the front. So the person who stole your vehicle is heading westbound, right? The police is heading eastbound. It just coming. It coming in time for the police to see it.
Yeah.
But we see the white car
And nothing on the
and
front.
we see no plate.
Yeah.
So we have to wait until we pass. And when we look in the rearview mirror, it's kind of upside down.
Gotcha.
So
Understood.
here's the problem now. We figure let's check this car out and we have to turn around. But we've lost time because the person now make a left, make a right, and they're gone.
Gotcha.
So if you had your plate on, we would have seen
Mhm.
that that's Peggy car, that the thief.
Yeah.
You don't have to remember it. Even if you don't remember this, and I give you a tip. Every plate, at least the average plate in the District of St. Croix start with the letter C.
Mhm.
Okay, there are specialized plates, but for the most part, the majority of the plates on vehicles start with the letter C.
Mhm.
All you got to now remember is the number because they're running a series.
Okay.
Okay, so if you tell me all you remember is ZA, ZB, I know there's a C with that, and you give me the number, I can find the vehicle because they're running a series. And that's the good thing about being able, and a lot of people like to hit people's car and keep it going.
Well, this is why I brought up this situation to begin with. Because on the way here today, if I have not adapted the practice that when I'm at a traffic light, I don't move off right away, I would not be sitting here now. Because I was at the Sunny Eye light, waiting for it to change to make the right to head south on the Hess Road. A truck came from the north after the light had changed,
And trying to
And
go
if-
westbound.
and naturally you went because I didn't move off right away. If I had moved off when that light changed, the two of us would have been one going for probably me because it was a big white pickup that
And that's
come,
how you.
and it came with speed here because casino it came with speed,
And this is why the camera
Yeah.
systems are important.
and that
and
is
so
why I asked
We are
about it.
moving in the right direction,
Okay.
not as fast because everything takes time and
Yeah.
we have to do our due diligence to make sure we pick the right vendor. Because too often our government engage in relationships that end up where
Yeah.
the person walk away with a ton of money and we walk away with nothing.
Understood.
And
Gotcha.
so it's important that we vet our partners,
Yeah.
or potential partners, and make sure that not because you've done it for New York, LA, and Miami,
Yeah.
that we are unique. We have
Understood.
unique situation and unique circumstances.
Yeah.
You understand? With our utilities, things are unique. So we need to make sure that we have reliable
Mhm.
internet at these intersections and reliable power
Yeah.
at these intersections. And so in making sure we harden our infrastructure and do the things we need to do to be able to offer a better secure territory, we have to take our time and do what we're supposed to do.
But
How much
I'm
time do I
not,
have, Peggy?
I'm
How much time do I have?
you got whatever time you need.
No, I don't have
But-
all the time I got work to do. I wish I did.
If you got more to say, it's
No,
up to you.
I want to say this though.
Uh-huh.
The Commissioner Brooks, is always interested in seeing his commanders go out and speak to radio hosts like yourself and provide information to the public regarding what we do. Because we strongly believe that if we give you more power, we're doing what you said on your shirt. We're not just empowering women, we're empowering people.
Yeah.
And so we want to empower you with the information so you make the right decisions and decisions that don't cost you money and decisions that don't put you at odds with your children, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren who work in the very police department. Because not one person here in the District of St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John could say they know that they're related to somebody in the police department or they have a relationship of some type with somebody in the police department. So we should be the one set of people that's always getting along with our police department. But we don't, because we don't want to do what we're supposed to do. We want to, because my last name is this buddy and this cousin and this, we think, but if you're, people know this. If you say you're a friend of mine and you like to commit offenses, you're not a friend of mine because you don't get where you're coming to you.
I hear you.
You understand? I have given many individuals, very good friends of mine, and I've received citations from my own officers for things that I have done that was incorrect. I've been in crashes and my officers give me the citation. And I always commend them for always doing what is right. And it's never easy in this community because we're so well connected. It's always uncomfortable for some of our officers to do their jobs. But I tell them, I don't want them to be out because they say I don't like this and I don't like. Do your job. Just do your job.
We have a call. Good afternoon and welcome.
Welcome, Mary. This is Jimmy. If you need help going on your phone, just play. You know how I feel about West Roman. You come to me.
Jimmy,
you got a question for the commander?
Yes, you come to me.
Do you have a question for the commander? Because he wants to wrap up to go on the road where he belongs.
Yes, I have a question. I need a hookup in the police department. I don't have no family member there no more. While they're dead, can you suggest a police officer I could call in case I need help?
well, you can call 911 and we all would respond to you, Mr. Weber. We will make sure.
Yeah, but you sound related to somebody that I want. So I don't want to be like a client. I want to be, oh, this Jimmy. We know that that on there you old. We got to help you right away. I need a name, Commander. They're going to best sympathetic to all people from me.
Well, why don't you use my name?
And what is that, Commander? So everybody knows that you are your God.
Jimmy, you know Arthur Joseph all too well.
I stand know you are. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Weber.
All right, Mr. Weber. Stay safe.
Yes.
I do not want no citation or nothing for driving between the white lines.
Mr. Weber, you know how I operate.
Yes,
if I am your friend, I always give you citations. That's all I give all my friends. You just asked me to give you somebody, right? I gave you me. So what comes with that is once you are in violation, you get what you got coming to you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, I know very many politicians that you do not do. For me, you want no more.
You never,
I tell you.
Mr. Weber, you didn't have to go. You said many politicians, I do that. So you fully well know who you're talking to. You understand?
That's why I tell you. That's why I want to be your friend, because I know I am not a politician. So me, the analyst, no more. You do not.
Are you suggesting that I target politicians?
Not at all. I just know that you can't take your feeling on targeting.
Okay.
You know what? If there are women that you could give me, like, they may be more sympathetic.
No, Mr. Weber, he gave your name already. He gonna give you his name.
That's it. You
And
get
that's
mine. That's it. You ain't getting nothing else.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to look for some police woman myself.
All right.
Good.
Very best. Good luck with that one. Enjoy the Christmas. I'm with Mr. Weber. But I really are going back to that thing. Please try and get that thing. You know why? Because I have a feeling it's been happening so often now at traffic lights.
Right.
That people are I have
People are
been,
running the lights, even at night.
yes,
It's dangerous.
I mean in a dangerous way.
It's a
I
dangerous
have been sitting at the traffic waiting for a light to pass, and somebody will come cross the 2 lanes waiting at the light and just
Pass everybody.
Yes, pass everybody.
And that's reckless in nature. It's one
Totally.
disregard for life and property, because what if there's a pedestrian crossing at an intersection?
Yeah.
Pedestrians have the right of way at all intersections.
And
You
I
have a
think they
caller?
do it, yes, I recall.
Before I
And
wrap
I
up,
think
yeah.
they do it because they know it's not. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Amoy.
Go ahead, the commander is listening.
Question. Yeah. Commander Arthur Joseph.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I want to know why this little island can be as clean without when people throwing trash out at the roadside. Why is that a problem?
Because we don't have any pride. I will tell you, it bothers me to no end when I see across from Janet Wilson Junior High School, there looked like a child may have lost their book bag, and a lot of paper was just, and I was looking for, so I just started picking up some paper. I said, this is just ridiculous. I mean, we need to have a lot. We talk about VI pride when we go away, But we don't have no VIP ride when we come back.
You know, I bought my first vehicle, brand new, a truck, in 1986. And anything, whether I drinking or eating, that will stay in my truck
Right.
until I reach to one place where I could dispose of it. So I call it, well, my parents. So we got a problem with them.
Well, thank you very much for keeping it
These guys
peaceful.
don't work doing road cutting. I think the gang a little overworked too.
Yeah, they got a lot of truck to pick up after they don't cut the grass.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we notice it. We notice it. Yeah.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you, Peggy. Before I roll out of here, of course, I gotta mention, the Office of Highway Safety. I work closely with Director O'Neill and her staff, and we do a lot of. You see, at the end of the highway, you have an example of what can happen to you if you don't buckle up. And it has a 24/66. Everybody in the vehicle should be restrained, and we try our best not to have heavy enforcement during the Christmas season because we understand the joy of Christmas, the celebration and what it means to many individuals, not just here in the territory, but throughout the world.
Yeah.
But we can't help but continuing to remind folks that you must buckle up. And if you're going to drive, don't drink. And if you're going to drink, don't drive. You don't need to be intoxicated to have fun. As a matter of fact, we've seen a lot of young people intoxicated after the Juve. We notice they have a high concentration of dehydration because they're drinking no water. And all from morning, from 12 o'clock at night, you're going to the party, always. You come New Year's Day, you always morning, you're intoxicated.
Yeah.
Don't drink if you're going to drive, and don't drive if you're going to drink.
Yeah.
And call for help. It's easier for us to come and get you and call a family member to come get you than to pick you up off the street because you've been ejected from your car because you were not only drunk, but your judgment was impaired, and now you were ejected from the car. And what was supposed to be a celebration turned into a tragedy.
Yeah.
So please, I can't say that enough. If you're going to enjoy yourself, call for a taxi, call for a friend, let a designated driver, but there are ways and things you can do to make sure that we stay safe during the Christmas season.
Like you mentioned that, and it has something to do with the season. As a matter of fact, this is something for after the season. If your division could get with the school monitors, particularly for the elementary schools, because many times I've had occasion to be at an elementary school when it's dismissing, and I've seen children who are not of the eligible age going in the front seats when really they should be in the rear. And many times there's a monitor right there, help that opening the door or whatever for them to get in. So I'm thinking if we could have somebody in your office, or I don't know, maybe it's a different office, train the monitors to insist that these children, and the children understand at what age or size they're supposed to be, cannot be allowed. Don't help them to open the door for them to sit down in the front. Because I know little children how they are, they want to be in front.
Yeah, and I agree.
And the parents, let them, but we have to somehow have those school monitors at those elementary schools involved to help with that.
Yes, I agree. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to reach out and have this dialogue with you and many others about the things that we need to do.
And just
to make
call
our
Josh,
community safe.
because coming down, y'all might need to come before a particular event and give an update, and I'm sure Josh will be happy to come and accommodate you.
Well, thank you, Peggy, and thank you for your listening and viewing audience for having me here. I'm Sergeant Joseph. I have to go. I have, of course, duty calls. Okay?
Go ahead.
You take care.
Understand. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, listening audience, for the calls. All those who called it.
We enjoy the information and just help it get that thing working good so then people don't burn me after the traffic light.
All right, Peggy. Take care.
Okay. Yes, folks, that was Commander Officer Arthur Joseph in charge, giving us up to date as to what we need to do with traffic. Because, folks, Christmas time It is usually the other person you have to watch out for. But and I will recommend this to anyone listening. When you're at the traffic light, do not, do not move off as soon as the light turn green. Yeah, I know sometimes you got people behind you blowing because as soon as the light green, they're going to jump up. No. At certain intersections, that is a dangerous thing to do, particularly the Sunny one, because there's always somebody trying to beat the light when they know the light. They can't beat the light don't change. So that is my recommendation, nothing to do with the traffic division. You're sitting, the light turn green, give it a second before you move. It might just save your life from that person who is just careless trying to come just get going before the traffic move. Okay? So folks, 7730390, 7730490. I want to point out that today, the 17th of December, was officially the last day of public school. Okay? As a matter of fact, I believe the high schools had, well, not had, are having, because I believe it's still going on, report card distribution for the end of the first semester. Remember, I explained to you last time that with the high schools, it runs on semester. The first semester runs from the early August to now, December, just before the Christmas holidays. That first semester is completely different to what will be the second semester that will begin January 7th to at the end of May. It will be completely different in that the children, the students will have four absolutely completely different classes and teachers. Okay, so make sure that first of all, January when school reopens, that your child has a complete schedule, okay, meaning four classes being required or elective, and that those classes have teachers. If your child is assigned to a class that doesn't have a teacher, then that requires for you to take that 2 hour off from work, if such be the case, and immediately go and address that situation. When you have a child who has a schedule with a missing teacher for whatever reason, that is not something you waste time waiting to be resolved, because every day counts insofar as instruction goes. So when that is something you address immediately. Find out if there's a teacher to come within days, to be assigned within days. Maybe somebody is traveling or some emergency or whatever that caused for them not to be in the class, the educator not to be in the class in the first day or whatever. But if the explanation is not acceptable, then it is a matter of questioning what class is there with a teacher that your child can be rescheduled for. Okay? Because let's remember, they are at a requirement of 26 credits to graduate. So when you're in high school, there's always a choice of any different types of subject matters that you can substitute in order to make your credits. So if there's a class that you've been assigned and it doesn't have a teacher, they don't expect to have a teacher, well then simply go get to the counselor and ask to as to what required class there is available with a teacher and a seat in the classroom. Because okay, teachers by contract are not supposed to have more than 27 students in a class. Okay, so make sure that you deal with that. Now, it is a shame that, yes, there were some days missed in first semester. Let's hope that we're not going to continue that pattern come with the second semester. Hopefully, the Christmas holidays, the Bureau of Construction and Maintenance will do what it needs to do first and foremost to make sure that all our schools have working water pumps, because as I explained the other day, every school has a system. Okay? So if for some reason WAPA cannot supply water because of whatever the case, okay, so that the school can continue to operate, then there is a pump that can be used. Good afternoon and welcome. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, rather.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, the name fell two. The first time I encountered that name was when I was working at the then College of the Virgin Islands as an electrician. There was a guy from Antigua with that name. I have since heard that name when some sergeant or another arrested you.
That's the same one.
Huh?
That's the same one there.
Oh, that's the same person. Oh, okay. Because I heard the name again this morning, I think when the commander mentioned the name.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's the same person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I suspect that that situation would come to resolution in short order.
Well, it's really, and it doesn't necessarily apply just to him. It's a thing that I have been asking officers, period, as to if something occurs at well, each time this is an official, because the first time it happened to me was with the Board of Education when officer was called to remove me because the chair did not want to allow me to address the board, which I was technically had the right to do. I followed the proper procedure. It was an agenda on the issue that I was there to just ask for 2 minutes to address the board. But because he didn't want to allow me, he claimed that I was disturbing, interrupting the meeting, and had the administrative officer called the police. And it is the same situation like what happened with this situation with the board election with this fell too. Is that I am standing up for my rights in accordance with law. Okay? But because whoever is in charge of the location the person is disruptive or whatever. Now, why aren't the police trained to, one, they have I think they give them iPads or something, if not to carry on them, that they have in their car, that if I am quoting the exact VI code, okay, chapter and section that you can accommodate by looking on your iPad, computer, or whatever, and verify yes or no if what I am saying is accurate. Why aren't officers trained to do that so that they don't interfere with the public's right. Because each time my right was denied because the officer is simply listening to the person who is claiming that I'm disruptive.
Yeah, well, that's the point I wanted you to get to because even if he don't have an iPad or don't even want to let him waste the time to go to the court to check the law, all you have to do is simply ask that very clerk, whether it was education or election board, if that is the law. And I'm sure they would have told him yes.
Well, he done that, and it happened with Chairman Calwood with the Board of Education situation. And let's remember, with this Sergeant Salou, it was the supervisor of election, Ms. Fox, who sent him there to remove me.
Well, you see all the more shit.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. You know, I internal affairs, as far as I'm concerned, this is my personal position. As far as I'm concerned, they're corrupt too. There's a waste of time, waste of money, waste of officers. Because I filed a complaint against the sergeant, and the reply simply said the man was doing his job. How is he doing his job when he denied me the right to be able to put my ballot in a ballot box as the law declared?
Well, I don't know. I mean, his head folks say what they want. I mean, I am sure my attorney would have asked him in court about the very law that is supposed to be about.
Well, and it was a funny thing because the person in charge of internal affairs, I don't at this time recall the exact title, but the person in charge of the internal affairs, I think it's the same person. The name is Coward.
Oh boy.
I had a big laugh when I read that email.
What a thing.
I said, well, if this must be a joke at the time here, that's the person Coward. Okay? But the point is, I quote section, chapter, and section of what I was talking about, that I was sitting waiting to put my ballot in a ballot box. But here it is, he was told by Supervisor Fox that I was interfering with the voting process. Now I was sitting quietly on a chair, you know. Nobody even pay attention. So he follows Supervisor Fox, which is then contribute to deny my right. And it was the same situation with board education. And I don't understand that. And I really want somebody to deal with the police department where that is concerned. Because I'm sure it's not just me that's having this problem.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is this, that seemingly the law enforcement officers trust the person and make the complaint over you. That they're not going to check anything. They start saying that themselves. I don't know. I had calls earlier with regard, and I think that time I had some calls from folks from back home not reminding me, but they were telling me, oh yes, they remember that particular case where I can't remember, I think it was a lieutenant or a captain, that he owns a record company, pick up somebody's truck, and it been sitting there, nobody comes to that, all of a sudden it became his, and I think he was forced to resign. I mean, I don't understand how anyone that is supposed to uphold the law could see that it's higher than the law. Now, I'm sure that same captain would have said someone, you can't do that to the man. Let the man truck for his truck. You can't keep the man truck. But he kept another man truck. I don't understand it. I truly don't know whether to get this feeling that they are above the law, they can do what they want, and you better shut your mouth, otherwise what they do from what they want to do.
Well, the commander did say that he has no knowledge of any officer having a private towing um, vehicle or company. So you know,
Yeah, well,
in St. Croix. He's speaking of St. Croix. So
yeah, nothing hits me, but I
yeah,
know that there's no chances of as a matter of fact, most of the records are owned by police officers, but they have interest in it. That's
yeah,
the money making venture,
yeah, yeah.
you see. But, I don't know why this just came in my mind. I ran into a little couple on St. Croix one, well, it was a 4 in the morning. I was in a bar, and I have been to that bar before, and I'm sitting there with, how I got into the bar, I was passing the bar, and I heard someone call out, Neto! And look around with this lady. So I keep walking towards her to see who she is that could call me by my name. It wasn't until I sat with her at the bar, and she offered me a drink and said, I'm going to have a drink with her. She knew me from the positions I've been in. And one of the positions was where her father was working for the same entity. But long story short, a discussion came up regarding politics. And before I just make that statement behind out of it, I had to put in my 2 cents. Now, the other patrons in the bar were all white. This young lady and I were the only black folks. Next thing I know, 2 police cops right up there, just have them right straight inside the place. 2 women police officers trading as who is Mr. Natty? I said, yes. Get on the bar and leave now. I said, well, what? What did I do? You got a complaint. You got a complaint saying what? Don't ask me the question. I'm saying you leave. So I decided I wasn't going to leave, but the young lady said, no, I just go. And you think it would end there. This police officer knows so much about me, because at that time I used to come to St. Croix a lot, because I was dealing with helping small contractors to get into business, and at the same time I was doing some land surveying organization. So normally I set up everything myself. Sometimes I'm there for weeks. And you say, well, we know you're saying you go there. You got a car, you following me, I'm walking. So I'm walking right beside me and going to the thing what she said, because I stopped by another man I went there. The lady came in there and coughed up with me. And I let her do what she wanted me. If I came back, I was like, okay, you home. Long story short, it ended up with where the commissioner had to apologize to me. And he informed me that I could take it further if I wanted to. But I didn't know what to say. I just leave it alone. If you woke me up, you gobbled me up, and you push me around, so what? But we got to be careful what we are doing just because we claim to be law officers. You're not above the law more than anyone else.
Well,
But she needed, I found out later on, she needed to please the owner of that car.
oh,
But I wouldn't say why. But she knows why.
oh, I see.
But that's okay. That's all right. Anyway, I will see how it goes. Maybe I'll call back later.
Well, I just want that issue clarified because next November is election, and I intend to sit it. I'm hoping that this time the election system will comply and have the ballot box present at the voting centers as the VI code mandates, because I intend to sit again and insist on having my paper ballot go in a ballot box. And I did not have and really don't have the resources to go a legal route, but I will try whatever sacrifices I have to make to do it next time if they send the police after me again, because I am not going to have in officers deny the law and deny my rights just to satisfy somebody who don't want to be righteous according to the code. So I'm going to be repeating the same thing, and I am just saying it's not a warning, it's just a matter of statement. I going for the God's. Okay. I yeah. I just mentioned it because I don't like the fact that I have all my life make sure to try my best to live a righteous life according to law. And these two incidents stick in my craw that these here it was, I was just trying to have my right, and police of all people is who helped to deny me my right. I ain't having it for a third time.
Police, you said you might find out, and a lot of us walk in the street there, little humble servants, no more land, and then the police will make another law.
Well, I
Let me see, I'm going to say something in closing. Oh, I too would hope that we have the ballot, the box, as the law was right, and stop. You know, sometimes too much education can hamper us. I'm talking about when you say there's a place and the machine where you can put it, that's all about.
no.
You know, I think I told people that I don't know that. So that's their way around forgetting the box.
All right then, thank you. All right, and folks, since we're on election, let me point out and make it clear that there is a general um, meeting of the Board of Election tomorrow, Thursday. As a matter of fact, let me just read the notice because I have the notice here. Okay. Virgin Islands Board of Elections Chairman Raymond Williams announces that the Board of Elections will be holding its end of the year regular meeting, and in parentheses it says in person, on Thursday, December 18, 2025 at 11 a.m. at the Public Service Commission, that is PSC, conference room in Estate Carlton, St. Croix. Election, all interested media and the public are welcome to attend in person or at the Election Systems Conference Room in Lockhart Garden, St. Thomas. You may also contact the board's executive assistant at richard.wilson@boel.vi.gov to receive the Zoom link. The Board of Elections wishes all throughout the Virgin Islands a happy and safe holiday season. So that is tomorrow, 11 a.m. at the PSC conference room in Estate Carlton will be the general meeting of the Board of Elections. And I encourage all who is free to attend to please attend. If you're not, make sure, as it says, you can contact Mr. Richard Wilson to get the Zoom link so that if nothing else, you can listen in. Okay? That is tomorrow. There's one other meeting tomorrow, and that is the GRS Board of Trustees regular meeting. Let me read that announcement. A regular meeting of the GERS Board of Trustees will be transmitted via video conference on Thursday, December 18th at 9:30 a.m. from the St. Thomas GRS Conference Room located at the GRS Complex, 3rd floor. Grounds and the St. Croix boardroom located at Orange Grove, St. Croix, where the public may attend in person. Okay? When they tell you that it's transmitted, it means that the officers of the Board of Trustees will be seated in the St. Thomas conference room, but anyone in St. Croix who wishes to attend can sit in the St. Croix conference room and audio the meeting. Okay. It also has a Zoom link, so you may join the meeting by using the Zoom. Okay, and they have the meeting ID and passcode listed. Okay, for those who might be listening, I want to take it down. The meeting ID is 892-5076-1536 with passcode 039764. Good afternoon and welcome.
This is Mohamed.
Speaking.
This is Jimmy Bombay St. Louis.
Compliments of the season.
Same to you. I think that we need a change in leadership. I think we need to bring out a lady, and I think we need a lady out of the ICM. The ICM have gone under the ground. I don't know why.
Well, let me correct you. That statement is incorrect. What happened to the ITM, the ICM, is really because of the corruption of the dominant Democratic Party. There are people out there who have the uphold the policies and thinking of the Independent Citizens Movement Party, but will not publicly state so or register because the Democratic Party has made it quite clear, even blatantly so, ever since the Young administration, that if you're not a registered Democrat, they will not allow you. They will make sure you don't get win any contracts in the RFP selections. You will not be able to get any decent job employment, and on and on and on it goes. And I'm not just saying what I think, I'm saying what I know.
So let me ask you a question. You know, and I know, because we grew up in St. Croix. We know what was going on with the parties in St. Croix. And I just can't understand if the people see that they need changes, like you just said. Why are they so, they don't have no vision to see that?
Well, for one, let's make sure we understand that ever since say the late 80s and 90s, our education system does not instruct our children in the understanding of the makeup and operation of our government. So you have an ignorant voting bloc who simply votes according to likes or dislikes instead of being analytical and
Yeah. Go ahead.
excuse you.
Again.
Yes.
Go ahead. I listen.
Okay. Well, what I'm simply saying is that we have not been instructing our young people as to how to be analytical in selecting our leadership. Okay.
You think you think that there's no way that it could be changed?
Yes, it can be changed if we can get people to understand that. And I would think by now, after decades of evidence of showing that what they have been doing is been to their detriment, because the majority of people agree that we seem to be regressing. Okay? And so the one thing that has been consistent is that we have been selecting majority of registered Democrats who seem to be just, like I said, regressing, and if anything, increasing the corruption. Because what have we had for the past couple of administration? The one thing that is increasing is that they have more and more administrative executive officers are finding themselves going to court and ending up in jail with jail time.
Becky, I've been away from home now. I've been in St. Louis. I've been sick. I don't know if you know, but I've been up here in St. Louis now 6 years, and I plan to come home January next year.
Okay.
Because I had recovered tremendously from my full stage.
Well,
I was at the cemetery gate, but I think the higher powers is saying to me I need to come home and do something with what's going on in the island.
well, good thing.
Excuse me?
No, I said good thing.
So let me ask you this, and I don't go. Do you believe that the people in St. Croix, especially, do you believe that the senators that they vote for, right? Because they got 7 and 7, and then one for St. John, right?
Yeah.
Do you believe that we should have our 7, or do you need less than 7?
Well, we can keep the 7. The problem is that we need to assign districts. That's what the problem is. We have one district with 7 people. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. It is dictated that there is a representative per district. So we need to break up the island of St. Croix into districts and the island of St. Thomas into districts, so that we can have people who are accountable for a particular area to a particular people. That's what is lacking.
Well, do you believe that if you put uh, the reapportionment and the ballot next year, do you think that the people then will think different?
Well, it all depends on one what type of structure is is suggested, because when you say reapportionment, is it's not just that. You have to break it down as to what to say, because I'm hearing people talking about uh, their idea of reapportionment is to have 14 senators be at large. That's not a reapportionment, because that still does not give you accountability.
So I know you have worked hard and your brother worked hard, and I thought that the people then would have tried to change their mind, but I don't know. I don't know what's
Well,
going on.
we had a situation where our people, and you know this, when our people are intimidated by folks who carry a title. Okay, and what happened was is that we had someone with a title, and I would say her name, Senator Saru, who took time for the first time in her experience as a senator to campaign even on the St. Croix radio shows against reapportionment. Okay, because and then she wasn't a Democrat, but the point is, as long as you're a senator, you benefit because and all senators are totally left to do what they want and don't have to be accountable to anyone because there is no districting. Everybody in the pot together. And what they tell you is when you go to one, they tell you, well, I doing this checky over there. And then, so you have nobody to hold accountable for anything, any place. And now it is strange that I am hearing that this same senator is now going to run to be a delegate to Congress, where districting is a prime importance. But she didn't want districting in the territory. That's it's laughable to me. I mean, in a sarcastic kind of way. Okay? She would never, ever be a candidate that I would support for delegate to Congress, given that situation.
Well, I know you've been struggling with this for a long time, and I've been a part of it with you, Ms. Wilson, when you was coming in, and we had a good formation of what the people were supposed to try to put together. But it seems to me that we need a woman. I think if we put a woman,
I wouldn't agree with you because leadership is not dependable on sex. I said I won't agree with you because leadership does not depend on sex. Got nothing to do with whether you're male or female. But I have another caller on. You're free to call back anytime. Okay, thank you, dear. Thanks for calling. Good. Uh-oh. All right. Sorry about that. I guess I had you waiting too long. But okay. Hello, welcome.
Yeah, Penny.
Yeah.
After my last call with you, just said two things that I needed to follow up on. And that Juni Bomba, who I know very well, he came on and he had a son. Let me deal with his first, maybe I'll deal with the other two later on. And I believe you somehow clarified it with regards to the fact that the ICM party became a party of folks that were initially Democrats, but that break away from the party and became defeated Democrats with independent citizen movement. Am I correct so far?
I was a little bit struck, but I'm not sure that because my thing is that you still, you have people out there who are supporters of independent citizens movement, but you will never actually know because they cannot be public. Otherwise, they jeopardize their business, they jeopardize their employment, they jeopardize, whatever is there as a possibility that is connected to the VI government.
Yeah, that's correct. And I was going to get to that. I was coming up to that. When the ICS party became the second party to elect a governor, we were both the first. It was not for my big brother, the Savan, or Benito Hartley. That part of, in some way, put the fair guard in the Democrats to vote for the Republican effort as if your life depended on it. And there was another part to that he and the dominant Democrats will know how you vote.
Which is impossible.
Well, okay, I will leave it there for now, but I'll tell you another time how it happened because he explained me what they used to do. At any rate,
Well, and that's all part of the corruption that started from then and had nothing. And if anything, it has just increased in different ways.
all right. But yet and still, these people would want to call themselves law-abiding, Sunday morning worshipers in a clean white dress,
And
holier than thou.
and not acknowledge that what we're doing is to our detriment.
Well, they don't care.
No, because they individually, as long as they individually, family and whatever, can survive and can get the benefits, they don't give a damn about nothing else. But our people, on the whole, are not seeing it, or they see it a different way. That possibly it will be their turn sometime to get the benefits.
All right. And as you rightly again put it, it is the people
Yeah,
that has allowed
yeah,
it to begin in the first place and to allow it to continue for 60 plus years.
yeah, yeah.
But I continue to take my blows. But let me go to this part first, then I'll go. The ICM party was able to get more votes than, or the candidates, to be Cyril King and Juan Francisco Louis, got more votes than the Democrat team. We didn't do it with only votes from the ICMers or maybe Republicans and also maybe no party people. The Democrats themselves, the quiet ones that was not in this dominancy, gave us the vote for which we always send them. So, and as you just said, they don't dare be too public with the fact that they don't like what's going on in the party, lest they, their children, and their great-grandchildren suck salt, and they probably don't get that tutu or Mambijo house, and if they don't get the contract.
And they still, because they're so ignorant, they still believe that yes, there is some way for somebody to know how they vote and call them a traitor to the party. Yeah, because otherwise than that, we have seen, and I'm talking about both districts, have seen very credible, highly qualified candidates run for the legislature of the Virgin Islands and be beaten by much less performing people. But it is again because of the Democratic Party supporting those who can be controlled as opposed to those who are independent minded and would be more committed to being public servant rather than self-servant.
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't say it any better.
Well, Mr. Nibs, I've been watching this for years. I'm a life of watching this. And while you talk about it, I couldn't even begin to tell you the blows I have taken off for years.
Oh, God.
Yeah? So,
Maggie, I have lost jobs. I have lost opportunities for jobs. I had to take my family and move them to Texas to my mother-in-law.
I'm moving a place.
We know about them saying what I did rather than commit a war begin with M. I'll leave it there. No, because they were rarely getting to me. Okay? And the thing is, Farley, as an educated man, as I still consider to be very educated, would tell me, Fonso, all you got to do is change your registration to Democrat. And I told him what to do with that, and I left the employer of the housing authority, which at that time was paid higher than commissioners. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for everything. Did it make me hungry and walk the streets? Maybe that's what they had hoped would happen. As much as I like fools and women, they think they're gonna find me lying outside and they go out there. No, I go in there with dignity and I come out with dignity. But this is how we are. We don't like we sell. We hate we sell.
Well,
So, brother,
I am here, and I intend to, as long as I am allowed to use this public media in order to remind people of the folks who are possibly going to be candidates for the upcoming position in the upcoming election. Remind people of things those people stood for that was contrary to the production and the advancement of this territory.
and you should.
Okay.
And with people like me and others who will could help to bring that out, we should do that also.
That and that's all I'm asking everybody to do. My point is, don't bring rumors. It have to be facts. Don't talk about rumors. As long as it's facts that can be verified, I have no problem with it being. And I said I will do the same, and that's why I just spoke of Senator Sarro, because I don't care what nobody said. I remember I was totally shocked that that woman, a St. Thomas District Senator, all of a sudden started calling St. Croix talk shows to oppose the support of reapportionment. And I couldn't believe, and I was said all the time, I still can't believe that someone who wants to brag that they had a degree in political science was denying the fact that districting is something that is positive for the legislature.
But Peggy, you know why she did that?
Because it advantaged her too. She didn't have to be a Democrat to take advantage of the fact that you don't have to be accountable if you don't want to. Okay? Because people will say she's accountable in what she chooses to be accountable for.
Well, therein lies the rub, where depending on who you is.
Okay.
I think of tell them all the time, and the man our creator and saying who you know or who you blow. So it's a God of our I have ran for 3 offices in the Virgin Islands. I ran for the Board of Election and Education. I only got an election and all the stuff 4 terms consecutively before I retired.
By the way, not to interrupt you, but you need to call the or email rather the Board of Election to get the Zoom connection for their general meeting tomorrow, because it seems to be going to be quite a long session. I don't know. I haven't seen an agenda to understand why it's so long, because the first notice I got it had said from 11 a.m. to something like 3 p.m. and I was wondering why, but now nobody seems to give an explanation. But I think it will be interesting to listen to that meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that, but let me just quickly do it before I go. When you first mentioned that this meeting at Raymond, you're doing something at Raymond Williams said that I was going to ask you if it had an agenda with it.
No.
I guess not.
No.
But the last meeting of the year, to me, I see that as particularly in the festive time. It's just to let the hair down, a lot of chit chat, probably some food, and yet alcohol consumption during the government hours. Yes. I mean, this is what it is. If people are so involved, I mean, who will stop them from doing that?
I would hope not, because I mean they do have issues to deal with. I intend to attend. I will be attending in person at the PSC conference room.
They got issues to deal with. All of them, and we're going to be there for answers.
Well, that is why, and I am not going to hide with that because they're the three positions that will be up for re-election next year, and one is Raymond Williams, which I will be expecting that if he puts in nomination papers for re-election, that the supervisor of election will deny it on on the fact of the VI code that says as director of lottery, part of the executive branch, he cannot sit on the board.
But they didn't do it before.
Let me point out, he was not at the time the director of lottery.
I understand that.
It was like he was grandfather. So this time now, with the re-election, if he puts in for re-election, and he is still will be sitting as director of the lottery, well, this is the time that we'll expect that he will be disqualified, and therefore.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we know that when he first got in, he was not the director. He became the director. From the time he was advanced to be director, he should have been told that he cannot sit on this board holding that position.
Well, let's put the weight on him as a leader, as he wants to call himself. He should have resigned from the board when he accepted the job of director.
The leader yourself, maybe you're talking about the leader of the parade from Grove.
Well, I point out because there are people who call themselves leaders, and I have heard him make reference usually around the time when he's leading the program for the Hamilton Jackson Day and whatnot, references. So I'm saying a true leader does things according to law.
Yes, but most of them we got now are self-anointed and appointed.
Well, and this is why I take it as my position to inform and enlighten the public, the general public, who is limited in their understanding of laws and policies, because and things that are happening in our government. For instance, I intend to also tell people that they should not be reconsidering or considering Stacey Plaskett for any position after her affiliation by choice with the biggest sex deviant offender of minors in the U.S.
But I don't that every day God lets me dress, but there are some of them are those and then you don't like the woman.
No, it's nothing personal. It is not at all anything personal. It is a matter of judgment of people, of values. I mean, how can you expect someone to really be, let's say, look out for the children of the Virgin Islands when they were enabler or supporter of the worst offender, sexual offender of minors? That it don't add up. It don't add up.
True, and you're correct, but let me go now by saying that you would have to ask the Christian educator then why she would say that they can't do a thing and that the governor is the best governor we ever had. She's the only one that can say anything. So I don't know. I was be on them like white on right. That what? The people still decide they should become anything other than a dark catcher. That's upon them.
And we must remember, this is not rumor. This is facts that came out of the revealing of the deposition that she took concerning the case, and admitted that she visited the man several times.
Well, that's after she said she know the man never been there.
Yeah, exactly.
I got.
Okay, take care. All right, folks, as we continue to give the announcement, yes, the last one we were mentioning is the GRS board regular meeting, and that, as I said, is also tomorrow, and that is 9:30 a.m. Retirees who have any issues, remember that the first item on their agenda of the GRS is always the opportunity for any retiree to address the board with a concern. So that agenda, I believe, still exists and is still allowed. So any retirees that is hearing me, if there's an issue concerning GRS, make sure that you attend that meeting and state your concern. Okay? Um, so, all right. So that's 2 meetings tomorrow. Imagine that. And the biggest thing that I have to announce and remind is that tomorrow, and I believe it still exists, December 18th was designated at some, I believe that was under Governor Knapp. Well, I'm not sure. And so somebody could call and correct me, but I'm talking about December 18th being designated Mikhail Paris Day. You all will remember that the Mikhail Paris went that was my senior moment. Either Japan, he went to a billiard tournament and won as the youngest in this section of the youngest billiard player, and was then therefore, because he is a citizen, a resident, a Crucian, okay, December 18th, which I think is his birthday, was designated then the Mikhail Paris Day. So let's celebrate that. I always upset me that we will choose to revel and make sure to remember all the days that our colonizer tell us we must remember, but we don't want to remember our local recognition. So tomorrow, please make sure you remember Mikhail Paris Day, because that was quite a feat that that young boy, as young as he was at the time, to have achieved that prize, that position of being the best for his age group was something fantastic. Okay? So those are the three things for tomorrow. Let me repeat again. GRS is a general meeting at 9:30. Election board general meeting at 11 a.m. at PSC. And the fact that it is Mikhail Paris Day all day tomorrow. Okay? Now, folks, please, 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 next year is a brand new year, 2026. And the only resolution I am asking is that we focus every single citizen, resident, inhabitant who intends to be a Crucian, Centurion, or St. Junian, Virgin Islander as a whole. Please advocate, lobby for the improvement of our public school education system. Join a parent group at a school, public school in your vicinity, in your neighborhood. If you can't drive at night or whatever, that you can walk to, because usually those parent meetings take place around 5:30. And it is the parents, the guardians, the community people who must, okay? It is not choice. It is our civic duty to advocate for the best possible instruction, resources, whatever, for academic and vocational education in this territory of the Virgin Islands of the United States. And folks, it's gotten to the point that I'm saying every one of you listening out there need to consider this seriously. We have lost respect, value for our public school education. It going to the dogs and our children going to hell behind it. Not my opinion. All the statistics, the scores, the assessments that they take is verifying they are 2 to 3 grade levels behind. And what education is doing is not enough. It's not working. It's not enough when you go and tell me that you want to celebrate a 1% or 0.1% difference increase. That's not blasted increase. Is it really reflected in the child's performance? I don't think anything so small truly can be. And don't get me wrong, we have very intelligent young people in these Virgin Islands, very talented young people in these Virgin Islands. They go astray because we, the adults, the people in leadership, do not do their duty, their part of helping, supporting, assisting, guiding, whatever word you want to use that is supposed to describe your duty with the minors of these Virgin Islands. Every single level have that responsibility, whether it's biological or not. The responsibility is ours to make sure young people get what they need to become independent, productive, good citizens, okay, of the Virgin Islands. And I say of the Virgin Islands because if we do our jobs properly, a good percentage of them will be Virgin Islanders for life. Yes, they will go away, prepare themselves for what education or training they can get. But if we do what we're supposed to in preparing them, they will see the value in returning, some of them, more than return now. And those who don't return is because, again, of what we do. Yes, I have had the complaints over the years, the stories of different departments in the Virgin Islands government where people take out their prejudice against some person, against some uh, experience that they had with some relationship, against whatever, and taking it out on these young people when they innocently just come trying to get their foot in the door, to do something, work hard, and progress. We're to blame. We're to blame. And I asking for a turnaround. a correction in the situation, because we are the ones that can make it happen. We have the capacity to make it happen. We need the courage, the commitment to make it happen. And that is why I'm pointing out that I hope, for one, that the people in charge are making sure that the public schools, and I'm not just talking St. Croix, but throughout the territory, okay? And I reference St. Croix because I know that the facilities in St. Croix all have systems. I am not that knowledgeable with the public school facilities in St. Thomas as to what um, their construction include. They should, I would think, all have systems too, but I'm not sure. But if they do, my point is every public school facility that has systems should, must have working water pumps with the capability of pumping the water for the size of the facility. That way, any interruption for water supply from WAPA will not interrupt the provision of instruction. Because when WAPA can't provide the water, then simply operate the pumps, which would provide at least water for the restrooms. Okay? And that is mostly what is needed. Drinking water is provided in other ways. But as long as we can get the waters for the restrooms, everything else can happen. And the children can continue to get instruction and have a full school day. So let's hope, pray, and I will try my best to directly or indirectly verify that this is being addressed over the holidays. Now, I don't know how that will go because I'm sitting here thinking, and I do know that there's some other things that the Bureau is supposed to be dressing over the holidays. Like, for instance, Complex High School, they're supposed to be completing the installation, first and foremost, the upgrading of the electrical system over in the vocational section so that they can complete the installation of the AC units. Okay, so hopefully that gets done. And why I say hopefully is because um, I don't know the full size of the maintenance unit in education in St. Croix. So I won't be surprised if I hear, well, we don't have the manpower to deal with the electrical and installing the rest of the ACs, and also deal with getting the water pumps installed and running. Now, I don't accept that. You know why? Electrical is electrician. Okay. Water pump is the plumber. Them is two different tradesmen. Okay. Two different support units to go with those tradesmen. So the two things could happen at the same time. But there's always an excuse. And hopefully there won't be any now. And this is where, as I pointed out before, this is where the parent organizations are supposed to advocate and put pressure. And I say supposed to because too many of them, they do one or two things. There are those who let the administration bully them and control them, which is wrong. And then there are those who are really seriously trying to do what they're supposed to and have an administration that is just trying to beat them down. But folks, if you have enough active members in the parent organization, you can overcome any blockage, interference from an administration. Just need the numbers in the parent organization. The numbers, first and foremost, they carry weight. Okay? When you have, which is, let's say, an average of public school facilities, an average of 300 in enrollment, but you only got 30, if that, parents attending a parent meeting, that's unacceptable. It gotta be more than that for 300 children. Okay, can we at least have every public school facility should at least have 100, yes, at least 100 parents regularly attending parent organization meetings. Good afternoon and welcome. Yeah.
I'm still listening to you with regard plumbing and electrical work that needs to be done so that the children can have good electricity, running clean water, and reliable internet. And I've said it before. When myself and others that graduated with me from the class of 65 was in the vocational track, we did the work that needed to be done in the school, along with a very skeleton crew, about 3 or 4 men that education had. So we know, because you have said it before, this administration thing is to let contracts to the friends. I mean, to pick up a paper, the drum, to let a contract. And I mean, if this is the kind of thing we're going to continue to do, then we're never going to have money. Because it wasn't that they were using us as no slaves to do the work. It was part of the training of becoming an electrician and a plumber and a carpenter and a mason. So the governor is quick to say that we don't understand. They want to say we down with the people. We don't understand this. We take Mr. Ryan and we don't understand all kind of foolish stuff. And I don't know that if somebody can tell him that, brother man, you just from here. Do you think back in the 40s, 50s, that you didn't know that these things exist? But again, greed is a bitch. That's what greed is. When you can't get enough money, maybe to kill your mother like these 2 gentlemen did up in the States there the other day. And then this brother plus this other one there the other day in Minnesota. You kill them together with their fast enough people get the money. But there are still some of us who black, and I always thank the public school system. Never went to a private school. The parents did not have the money. And I did not graduate from college because even though my mother was working at shop to keep in engineering school, I decided it was too much for her. So I stopped. You see. But I don't know. Seriously, let me do a quick look at this. The government employee retirement system. From from the time my brother was the administrator, those are guys trained in economics and what they call high accounting and all this type of thing. He's been telling them, he gave them a date along with the actuaries and all these other big brain people that the system was going to fall and it failed. He has gone off and they're now telling them the same thing. But are they preparing to drop their date? Or they're just keeping their fingers and toes crossed and hope it don't happen? You understand? I don't understand why the retirees like yourself that own a one-time of money still can't get your money. The government could do that to clear some of the want. They could. The government is big business. The government can take a loan, a low interest loan, and back it by the full faith and credit of the government. When I tell them, so, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, maybe I don't know.
The government, let's remember, the government from the beginning of this administration, so they had some 700 vacancies that needed to be filled, you know. You know what 700 vacancies would mean in contribution to the GRS?
Well, exactly. It was correct the ratio that we have now.
Okay. But we have ever since, as I'm in my position, ever since the young Francis, as I see it, there's been a deliberate act to not fill positions to increase the fall of the GRS. That's how I see it. And add to it, and I see it that way because if it was not for the organization that we formed in St. Croix, because rough come after we, when they see we move, that's when they went and moved. That the St. Croix Government Retirees Organization that worked with Mr. Nibs in order to put pressure and have something done to save the system, because at that time, Governor DeYoung was trying to make GRS allow people to retire, and the distribution would be made when the property taxes owed from 2015-16 was paid. And we jumped and hired an attorney to file to block that. Okay. That's how that stopped, because he was encouraging people to retire, to put more strain on the system instead of hiring and filling the vacancies that existed. And his follower, or his trainee, or whatever you want to call it, Governor Albert Bryant, has only continued his practice.
You know, Peggy, what you're saying is so true.
But I finish, because as far as I concerned, that man they call the director called for GRS, he part of the whole scene.
Peggy, let me tell you something about my friend John DeWolf, as I call him. John DeYoung claims he's from Savannah. He doesn't from Savannah, he's from New York somewhere. And
well, how can this man now be a financial expert when he first, and by his word, when he joined and became governor, couldn't even get a mortgage for 200 and something thousand for his property? But yet when he left the government, he didn't get a mortgage for damn near 700,000. Tell me how that happened.
Again, it's there who you know, but who you blow.
Okay. But that does not say to me that you're any financial expert when you have to be part of the government and use your corrupt ways to make yourself have a bank account that was significant.
Hey, you know, it's just so much things that is happening. But with the I mean,
We were the ones that encouraged them to start the tier two, that the retirement would be like they do with Social Security, an average of your entire employment, not just the last 5 years or 3 years. We were the ones that suggested that.
But the thing needs to be solidified when maybe as St. Thomas Group join and bring a class action suit, and then you all got to win. It's so you put the money belongs to all you with interest. Okay? And then give us let's be there and there hold the ceremony. I get it ready for maybe and I get in there as if they throwing money at a dog or something.
Well, that really has to do with a community that we have created as people whose focus is self-centered and greedy, because every time I hear mention of our retro that is old from the 90s, all I hear is the younger group that, yeah, they owe me a retro from 2 years ago for you, and we talking from the 90s. Okay? But these young people want this now. Never mind, they get a tax refund, which we ain't getting, because to tell you the truth, I don't know. I think it was probably the early 80s was the last time I see something called a tax refund.
Well, but let me tell you something. The last tax refund I received was for 2017. I continue to call, beg, plead, borrow out, financial call IRB. IRB they call finance. And I believe they're just doing this to me because of how vociferous I am against the government.
Well, you're probably right, because that is how they operate with this corrupt government that we have. I call the Virgin Islands government.
You know, and then I told I was told, why you don't do something? But then of course I will. I just have so much iron in the fire. I got so much things I do.
But
I mean, that's only a couple of $1,000. I got hundreds of $1,000 to make by what I do. I can't just fool around for a couple of $1,000. So I will get to it at some point. You know. But I don't know. I really don't know what is going to happen, who is going to be the successor to take the throne.
well, I really I am of and this is my opinion and my position. I am looking for a good cushion, because I'm sick and tired from since Farley Hodge come forward of all those governors from the District of St. Thomas at one point or the other talking about, yeah, St. Croix, we got you. Your time is now. And all happen is by the time they leave, St. Croix there 2 decades behind. Okay? So I had enough of that. Not to say that a crucian is better, but the point is, I rather take my chance with a crucian. A Centomian don't tell me too much time. The last one was Farley. I'm not Farley, I mean Turnbull. Remember when in his re-election, Turnbull said, St. Croix first?
Yeah.
Well, St. Croix come last and we couldn't even count.
But you see, Peggy, I'm going out by saying this. To me, of course, it is the crucial fault.
Well, that is true. Our representatives don't stand up as they should.
Right, even with the senators themselves from St. Croix. People want to know what happened. I went to St. Croix and drink some mafia Kool-Aid and the guy who's stupid or something.
No.
Your brother said it up to yesterday.
What happens? As I have looked at it, what happens is when you have people who enter the legislature with the mind of going further than the legislature. So they want to keep the friendly relationship with the District of St. Thomas, and they do that acquiescing and giving in too many times that we then end up paying for.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, to me,
agree. And it ain't parity no more, Mr. Nips, because we there so far behind is equity. Okay? You can't tell me when we 3 times the size are you put together that you going to want to consider that's equal. How the hell you connect that equal? What kind of math are they? Okay?
You got to talk to your senators over there and your gubernatorial aspirants.
Well, I definitely talking to them and talking to the people who might be considering them because, as I pointed out, I've seen the last couple of elections, people will come and say, these are my items of concern, and I have plans of how to improve them, but they never give you the details of the plans, claiming that they cannot expose it for other people to steal it.
Nonsense.
Well, my position is no. The hell with it, because if they're talking about somebody going to steal it, they done showing you that there's some self-centered good for nothing.
That's right. If it's a plan, it's in a plan for you or of you. It's a plan for the people.
Exactly. And regardless of who get it done, as long as it get done, that's what is important. And you can still claim, if you put the details out there, people will remember that it was your original plan, but the point is it was put into action for us to benefit. That's the priority.
Exactly.
Okay?
Okay. Down again.
All right, take care. And folks, I did miss, and I want to say it now, that there is an important meeting this evening. Okay? Hold on, somebody's calling. Good afternoon and welcome. I don't know who that is. Okay. And that is, and let me read this one. It says, you're invited town hall meeting for wastewater haulers. Now, the thing is, it does not say public only. And I'm saying that because there are some private wastewater handlers. I mean, when I say private, they're those people you see that goes with truck through the towns, as Christian said and Frederick said, collecting waste from restaurants like KFC, or different retail stores that have big, lots of garbage or whatever. I would think that it has to do with all of you, whether you're a public, I'm a public contract or a private contract. So please listen up. That is this evening, okay, Wednesday, from 6 to 8, and it's going to be held at the Alfredo Andrews Elementary School. So it says all permitted, non-permitted, and prospective wastewater haulers and or representatives are invited to attend the meeting to discuss the reinstatement of the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority's septic waste disposal fee, permitting, reporting, requirements, and compliance. Okay, so St. Croix, that is tonight, 6 o'clock at the Alfredo Andrews Elementary School, 6 to 8 tonight. So wastewater haulers, please make sure and go out so that you will be informed. Things of this sort, it's always best to give your information first hand. Okay? Second hand information of this type don't come straight. It always got a bend in it that does cause confusion. So wastewater haulers, 6 to 8 tonight, Alfredo Andrews Elementary School. So make sure to be there. Okay? The caller mentioned I was talking about improving the water and the AC and whatnot, and he mentioned the internet. It's something I deliberately avoided because it has just pissed me off. So, okay, and understand what I'm saying. The internet has existed how long now? You know, those of you who are tech savvy out there could call the time better than me, but it's been definitely more than 2 decades. Okay. And my point is, if something done been existing for 2 decades, but you still can't figure out how to get it to service our public schools in the territory, I mean, something wrong with we, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, um, to me, it's beginning to seem like there are some people who are deliberately doing things for what reason I really can't fathom. But the point is, if technology is to be to do great things, I mean, everything they're doing in the schools nowadays depends on the internet. Okay, the Promethean boards, they need internet. Okay, the Chrome Chromebooks that they give the children, they need internet. The iPads, they need internet. The laptop, and these are the things that they need in order to uh, get the iReady program, and the iReady program is used to help children who are deficient, because these programs address their deficiency at the level where they're at, and supposedly, uh, you know, move them at their pace up to where they should be. But they can't do that if they don't have the internet to connect the blasted devices. And it absolutely pisses me off, pardon the language, when I all the time hear, and it didn't just start with this one, it was the other one used to do the same, Leon, and now Brian, taking the EDA, tourism, and everybody and going Atlanta, going New York, going wherever, supposedly um, promoting and advocating for businesses, specifically and more particularly, hopefully, African American based, to come to the Virgin Islands because of our EDA program. And they always throw in the big hook, the big, what they think is so fantastic possession of the fiber optic opportunity. But my thing is, yes, I know I am tech limited, but how can you really explain to me that as a government, we're bragging and promoting about fiber optic capabilities when you don't have not one, I repeat, not one single public school facility that can declare that they have or get for one day full from morning to afternoon, from opening to closing, consistent, dependable internet connection. Not one. Not one on St. Croix, not one on St. Thomas, not one on St. John. And I know because I just got through doing the tour, the visits to every single public school in the territory. Okay? Except, let me correct, Lacard. We didn't make it to Lacard because at that time they had that bomb threat situation and we couldn't visit. Okay? But the point is, again, how can you explain to me? I don't give a goddamn how tech export you is. You cannot declare to me that we have this capability of this fiber optic situation, but cannot figure out how to give not one school, any of our schools, dependable, consistent internet connection for 1 day straight. No school gets that. None. Okay? I went in this morning to Complex to get my granddaughter's report card because today they had report card distribution. And it was not unusual to hear in the hallway while I was going to the counselor, is the internet on? We got connection? That's a regular situation every day in every school. Okay? And I know that too because as we visited the schools and we wanted to observe from our lesson some class lessons, and naturally to do that we asked for the lesson plan. And just about every school, well, sorry we can't print because we're in the internet, you know. Good afternoon and welcome. Hello, you're on the air. Hello, are you on the air or not? Okay, very good. All right, folks, I have no problem, but please don't call and then having a conversation with somebody next to you, whatever. You know, that's kind of disrespectful to the people who are listening and waiting to hear what you got to say. You know, all right. So call back when you're free. Thank you. So my position is, and I'm asking if there's any, and it seems like maybe that's the problem. We don't in our community, territory, have anyone who seemingly understand or can address the problem of lack of connectivity with our schools. Now, while I was visiting in St. Thomas, I did happen to run into a worker for the IT department in education. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome. Compliments of the season.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm still here in Florida. This weekend I'll be going out to New York. I just had a big snowstorm, so I'm not in any rush. But as I just woke up.
You know I have no sympathy with you for them snowstorms. So.
Okay, for myself, after I just had a big bowl of soup. I had, I've been to the school. I said, each school.
Hello?
Yeah. No, I was asking you.
Something wrong with this connection. You drop off. You say you asking me, and I ain't hear what you're asking me, you know. All right. I don't know if you're driving or what, but the connection is not there. Okay. So I'm going to have to disconnect, and you try me again when you get out the tunnel or whatever. All right. Okay, I believe that was Mr. Grant, as he said he's in Florida. We should be able to connection, but for some reason, it's not getting through. Okay. I do hope he calls back because it seemingly is going to address my internet concern, which would be a good thing. Okay, let me see. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Peggy. How are you doing this most beautiful afternoon in the most beautiful place in the world?
I am blessed and highly favored and hope you are same. Compliments of the season.
Thank you. I'm asking, like I asked earlier, what does VITEMA stand for? I think it stands for Virgin Islands Territorial Democracy Management Agency.
That's correct. As far as I know, yeah, you got it right.
So,
what happened?
emergency in the Virgin Islands?
What's a well, as far as I can tell, the emergency in the goddamn school when they can't get them internet that they need for everything but concerning instruction.
So, when you got school or government building in and running water,
Yeah, exactly. That yeah.
Is that an emergency?
Yeah, definitely make I close down the school. That's an emergency, yeah. And when you have them people, cause I heard on a different program, 4 people in paradise for again and 2 weeks now, if not more, they can't get no water. That is kept, that done pass a emergency. What's an emergency? I don't even know.
The son saying there is a reason why I use politicians because they could never answer themselves. You understand me? But I'm just saying that could we imagine? I mean, what does Baikima mean? I mean, there is schools that don't exist because they ain't got no running water. You telling me Baikima got a pump? That's a pump. You understand me? You telling me mitigation? People that I know from in the military, graduates of the highest military institute, and the state can't fix Baikima. I don't want to know what they're saying.
Well, I hear you. But I just think like for instance they got well I don't know if this still is, but I remember I used to see some old fire truck down there in Richmond park up, and I would think if you get the police towing truck and you fill the water the fire truck with water and tow it up to put it up and tap it by Paradise Mills, that at least people could go and get water out the truck until WAPA get their act together to provide the water they're supposed to.
And even if we can't pump it through the line, because of these power up, like they used to do, and then you come over there and pick up your water.
Right.
But they were doing that they know.
Or even activate, because use the right man to ask this. Why is it that we don't, in these situations, activate national guard? Aren't those the kind of thing that national guards do in foreign countries for people? What are you laughing for?
I guess you didn't hear me or
No, I was busy this man. Let me hear not this. What happened?
Anyway, I won't get back in a minute because when I hit you, I'm going to hard.
All right, okay, well, no problem. I'll wait for you to come back.
I will tell you this much. The VI National Guard, I don't call it. Because I'm telling you, if you ask me, right, there's a bunch of fellows now. They get 6 figures retirement. 6 figures retirement and you see.
You doing a bad spot or something because you're going in and out. So call me back like you said. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon once again, Miss Moed. How is this? Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Loud and clear now. Go ahead, yeah.
Well, what happened? I was in the desk in the back of the house, and it seemed like for the couple of days we were having some issues with the signal, and so I come out and I said to my kind of dude, I was telling you that I'm still here in Florida. The last time we spoke a week ago, I was driving on my way down to my sister's funeral.
Right.
Past Friday.
Yeah.
So, like I told you, this past weekend I just had a big snowstorm up in New York, and I didn't even know it was my niece, my brother-in-law, with me. We had family come from as far as England. People came from St. Kitts, of course, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and it was a wonderful turnout, you know.
Okay. So even in passing, your sister provided you a good event. even to save your skin from a snowstorm.
So I was really glad that we got up with the as a matter of fact, I'll leave it here and then I'm gonna stop as I said. They just bought a house in Virginia in July, and they were telling me on the way back up to New York, you know. So this weekend I will spend the weekend there with my son and his wife in Virginia on the way back up. But like I was telling you, I was thinking like each school would have Wi-Fi. So I don't know if it's the internet provider that has issue, or why wouldn't the school have an issue with the Wi-Fi so that they could have various programming? I know.
Look, all I could tell you, and to my understanding, right, is that there is a provider. The last provider was broadband. Then remember there was some transaction and Via bought out broadband or something of that sort. Okay, so the provider now for the schools, for the Department of Education, is supposed to be Via, which has now changed to One. That's the new name.
Changed to One? O-N-E?
Yes, that's the new name.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I didn't know if that was part of it.
Yeah. But now they're pointing out, and that's how that's why they got, well, that's how they got rid of Miss the good promotion lady, Mataranga's King. When they changed to One, it looked like, I don't know if they changed exec or whatever, but that when she got booted out, that now she's a commissioner of tourism.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what I understand is the provider is providing, they provide the service of technology up to the facility. But from the providing to the facility to the inner workings, that is up to education. And education technology division, well, when I spoke to a worker in St. Thomas when I was there visiting, he's telling me that they are lacking funds to get the proper equipment necessary to have the provision of the constant internet.
Ms. Moore, let me ask you a question. The Bureau, was it BIT?
That ain't got nothing to do with internet. That is the Bureau of Construction and Maintenance. That's a different thing.
No. Not the Bureau of Construction and Maintenance. There's a government entity.
Oh, BIT. Yeah, BIT is supposedly Bureau of Internal Technology, supposedly over for the VI government. How that connects with the departments, really, I can't tell you. I don't know. But all I know is the Department of Education has its own IT division, unit, whatever you want to call it. And it's been there, well, it's always been there as far as I know. But for whatever reason, it's never been dependable. And while I thought it was the provider, I have been made to understand it is not the provider, it is the department's people. Yes, Department of Ed.
Because, like you said, the provider brings it to the school facility.
Right.
And then Department of Ed, they're supposed to now be able to take.
They are supposed to run the wiring and do all the connections in-house.
All the connections here, so that everything would be
right.
set up for Wi-Fi, and then you could just tap into it.
Right. And for whatever reason, they ain't been able to do it for 2 decades now. Right, Andrew?
And they're saying this is due to the funding.
Well, this is, I was at a St. Thomas facility when the one of them IT vehicles came up, and I ventured to ask the young man if, you know, what is the, and his position to me is, Miss, we can't have the funding to get the proper equipment and stuff that we need in order to deal with it. Now I don't understand that because all them whatever fund, the federal funds that we got, those are things that should have been able to take care of, regardless of the price necessary for this technology to work. That should have been able to apply to. Why it hasn't happened? Well, only I guess the commissioner could tell us.
When you say the commissioner of education.
Education, yes, because we're talking the whole thing is under education.
Yeah. Well, like you say, with all the our funding, one of the things I still can't get an answer to, and I try, but when Senator Francis was on your brother's show a couple weeks ago, and he chairs, he's the finance committee chair in the 36th legislative body.
Yes.
What I was trying to get from him was, I called former Commissioner of Finance, Ms. Bruce, testifying before the legislature when they took $220 million without notifying the legislature and moved it out of the territory and placed it in New York in JP Morgan Chase money market account.
Yes. Supposedly, according to Governor Bryant, that was done in order to get a better interest on the money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to get better interest. So, where is that money? Where is the interest, the compounded interest?
Nobody answering. Remember, it is all Democrats, so they don't know who they want to.
Well, you have to do it when I get back to New York, I have to do some investigation. I may have to set up a meeting with JB Diamond. He is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase.
Well, that would be a good thing, Mr. Grant. That would be a good thing. And I encourage that, you know why? Because I keep telling people, if there is foul play going on, we have to expose it, because all I am seeing is young people who are well educated, well credentialed, well knowledgeable, but all they're doing is entering our VI government to improve their tactic of corruption, because they feel, yes, I'm smarter and I could do it better, instead of trying to improve the performance and operation to be legal.
Yeah, that's something I'll do. I'll see if I have the credentials to inquire on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands about this $220 million, because from what I recall, even though it was ARPA funds, which came through the executive branch due to the state of emergency, what I was told, VI statute says that once it's placed in a financial institution and interest is compounded, the interest now goes back to the first branch of government, which is the legislative branch, the branch with the purse string. So that's why I wanted to talk to Senator Francis as to why you don't have an account of these funds.
Well, remember, you can still email him and ask. Okay, you can send an email to his office to ask, because you have a right. And I got
that Miss Shauna Richards, his chief of staff.
Right. And I would be interested. Well, this is my last time until next year, January 7th or so, but I would definitely be interested in knowing what you find out. Definitely. Because, and hello, let's remember to, you reach out to your native New Yorker.
Say that again?
I said, don't forget, you can also reach out to the native New Yorker.
Oh, yes, Delegate Stacey Classic.
Look how you pick up on that.
So one of the things I wanted to ask too, because I can't as former WAP employees, when I have heard this issue about power outages, and the big thing was water, and one of the things I was listening to a program, and people were saying, well, if we ain't got power, we ain't got water. What they don't realize is that it takes electricity
Right. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. And then after that ended in June of 23, Wapenen petitioned the PSC in August and received a layup underwater say, hey, we come asking Fleming. He is
He was the president at the time.
yeah, NC director. Yeah. And I asked him and I said, explain to me. And he was like, well, it takes a meg and a half. I said, well, a meg and a half is not a fuel in order for you to put a fuel tax on the water side. Because if it takes the electricity initially to produce the water, you already have
But
a tax associated with the fuel, which then makes the electricity, which then makes the water.
even more than that, Mr. Grant, and I just thought of this, I might ask you to look into it for me, is that I heard the governor bragging the other day because, you know, we have three large, well, two very large solar panel fields and one, solar medium, I would say, in St. Croix, because you have a tremendous one out on East End, there on the hill across from the gun range place. And then you have another big one, in Hugginsburg area there in Frederickstead. I forgot because, I'm not into these things, because she did say how much megas we get in for each one. My question is, if you have this and they are properly, which they may not be because nobody said, properly connected with batteries to store, why then did St. Croix have an island-wide outage for 6 or whatever hours the other day? Shouldn't we have at least had sections that was connected to these panel fields that could have been operable?
Yeah, and then you could do rotating of fields. That
So-
way, this section have power for 2 hours, this section have power for 2 hours. So that was the main thing after we first had the solar farm by the old drive-in theater in St. Thomas by Duno that got destroyed for armor.
So,
The
but
reason why they never had that
Well,
solar field. it
with
didn't have the
with
battery
your
pack. And
connection with Brother R, who would be able to tell you about the specifics with St. Croix, see if you could find out for me for next month as to that clarity of that. Why is it with these two
yeah.
tremendous solar panel fields that we have, one in East, one in West? I ain't even dealing with the one main island. Why is it then that we still had an island-wide outage for 6 hours? I mean, even if it went down island-wide, immediately those panels should have been able to kick in to provide a section at East End and a section at West End.
Ms. Moore,
Yeah.
when Mr. Smith, the former CEO before, what's his name now, who's the chief of staff, Carl Knight,
Uh-huh.
when Mr. Smith was there, they said they were implementing in the Richmond and the Harley facility these batteries that could provide, I think it was 9 or 10 megawatts of power, because they was having an issue where we was going to what's called a black start, meaning that everything in the power plant went down. So you need station services, which is the power plant power, so that we can power up the equipment to then provide power out to the grid and then out to the fields. So whatever happened to that? Those batteries, that if there should be, if the generation should go down, you need something to kickstart them. So these 9 megawatts of battery that was supposed to be run in Richmond and Harley, I just heard it being discussed. I never heard of implementation. It's coming online and so forth. So those are things I will follow up on, and hopefully I could have some answers for you. God spare come on the 7th of January. That's what you said, right? That's
Yes.
the day before my daughter birthday on the
Yes.
8th of January.
And the first January, Wednesday in January is the 7th. So I will be back on then. Yes. Okay. So hopefully yeah. So enjoy your season. Stay safe. I know you'll be happy because you're there now in warm Florida and moving on to spend some time with your friend in Virginia, which hopefully will be equally as warm before you get back to York.
Listen, and if this weather persists, I think I might extend what's happening.
Well, yeah. Something will be wrong with your brain if you don't.
I mean, right now, I said that my niece catered to me. You know, after what you want, they need anything.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
I can't actually any better.
I hear that. So hey, take advantage.
Yeah. But anyhow, I would definitely look into what you asked about like El Carpenter and have a discussion. I hope
Yeah.
I'll have some answers for you.
And that and on the bank money.
Yeah, the bank money and what's going on with the batteries, why, you went down and the whole island was down and, we were supposed to have these batteries as backup for the solar farms so that, any issue like, once the batteries has stored power, which is potential energy, and then kinetic energy is energy in motion. That's when you
and just to give you some information to work with in doing your investigation, because his PR man, Mr. Mota, could probably tell you how much megawatts the solar field is supposed to provide. Because I know the governor mentioned that. I just don't recall what it is. And if he mentioned it, that means Mr. Mota knows what it is.
Well, Ms. Moore, I'm going to go to my sources that still work for WAPA because Mr. Richard Mota, I ain't want no propaganda. I going directly to the horse's mouth.
All right.
I'm going to get it from my friends who still are employed there, and due to their contractual obligations, cannot make any sort of statement publicly. But they can use me.
Understood.
To get that information out to the public. So
definitely understood. But it will be helpful because it will assure the public if they know, well, if these things are operational as they are supposed to be with battery storage, then we can say, well, that last island-wide district outage is the last that we will know of, because we expect that these fields will kick in if something happens, even to power up the plants so they can, but at least it cannot be island-wide disruption anymore.
Exactly, and with no power, that comes no water. See, it was different when we had the boiler system, because that didn't affect us from making water, but due to the fact that we're doing it through reverse osmosis and everything from the intake pump, we take the water from the bay, and always a filtration process already done with electricity. So if there's no power, then there's going to be no water. And people need to understand, that this process is different than in the past. And people might say, well, in the past, before we had when power went down, we always had water.
Yeah.
But I just wanted people to be aware that it's a different process now, and the water follows the power. The power has to be made first before you can make the water.
Okay.
And on that note, I give somebody this opportunity, but I'll be now that I'm up. The book is 4 o'clock now down there, so the program have another half hour to go.
Yes, I'm off at 4:30. Yes.
Okay, well, now listen, and all the best season greetings to you, the Morehead 917. Everybody there in the bush now have a safe, healthy, enjoyable holiday season.
Thank you, and the same to you. And keep warm.
Yes, I will. Thank you as well.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
Bye-bye. Yes, folks, that is our call, Mr. Grant. A New Yorker, well, presently, I don't think a native, but he's a transplant from St. Thomas, but he calls in regularly, and he's a former WAPA technician. Well, I don't recall specifically his position, but very knowledgeable where electrical operation is concerned. So he is going to try and get us to give us some understanding, because I didn't understand that the other day. I mean, people, I always tell you this is a technical thing that I am limited with, but common sense to solve me well. If you go and tell me you got all this power from these solar plants that we have completed, they're supposed to be operational. The big one up eastern, like I said, and then the other one down west. And if you have them with storage, because that's the next thing I don't understand, how you're going to spend money on these solar plants that are so ginormous, and then you don't put in the necessary battery storage situation, so you can only get power when the sun shining. That don't make sense to me. Okay, if you're spending, do a quality, complete, comprehensive, put in the battery storage situation, so that when you need power, whether sun shining or not, you got power. That to me is something that is beneficial. Okay, and if we have that, okay, but even if the sun wasn't shining, we lost power that day with that uh, island wide. It was like around 11 a.m. in the morning. Okay, that went into the night. So if it was 11 a.m. sunshine, how come we still had outage island wide? That's my point. If you're telling me you have these solar panels, then they should have been some sections of the island that had power. Good afternoon and welcome.
Tony, I was listening to you and Grant talk about the problem with the internet service at the school.
Yeah.
And I would like to mention the traits and experiences that I've had in the electrical and engineering field. A lot of times, even at home, people go and buy a piece of equipment, let's say a dishwasher, or not a dishwasher so much, but a dryer, or go and buy an air conditioner without checking the type of service connection that Wi-Fi has at the home or at the store, at the school. And that could be the problem. I'm going to call out some things. So the average person is not going to be making sense, but I have to say to bring my point. There are several transformer connections. Could be 12240, 13260. It could be an open delta, could be a closed delta. It could be straight 480, it could be 240, 480. It also could be 277, 480Y rounded. Now those are electrical connections in transformer to suit the equipment that you have in your home, your school, your place of business. Like I said before, some people, it could be that the internet connectivity they have does not match the type of service that's coming to the school building. Now, any electrician of no problem. Now it's a free advice I'm giving. But it's worth it because the children need the connectivity and the reliability of the internet to do the very schoolwork. Feel like when we went to school, a piece of paper and a pencil, that's all we needed. You see? So I mean, I would offer that. I don't know. The governor and Mr. Carl might have a way. Whenever I say anything, they would say that I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if I don't know what I'm talking about, why they will go and make corrections or maybe adjustments to certain things I would say about Guatemala, Guatemala, a class, because we are former employees up there, we know how the system works. But it's not about me. And I don't know why you can't understand this. That some of the people are jealous because Carl's making more money than me. Carl can't make more money than me. He should be in the private sector. If he plans to be a civil engineer, yes, that will make millions of dollars. We're doing a government job for $500,000. But a lot of them wouldn't admit it. They cannot make it nowhere except in the government. Okay? But again, I offer that. I will go a step further. I'll have a friend of mine that still has been some electrician, an electrical engineer, go and check each school and see if the internet service and connectivity comport with the connection of the transformers and what has at the pole. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
And folks, that was some good free advice. I guess really that they probably need to connect with the director of the IT division in the Department of Education to get a better picture of what is really hampering or challenging their performance. Only he should know. I don't understand it to correct it. I don't understand why that person, and I really don't know who the director is, why that director is not involved or included when the department goes to address the Senate Education Committee to plead and to solicit the support or the help that is needed in order to get what needs to be done. But very possibly that's not done because the department realized that it has money already, federal money, that should provide to that for that situation, and for whatever reason it's not being done. So it's like if you got money to spend to correct this, then you really can't come to the locals to ask for help, because you just pissing away the federal money that you should be using to correct the situation. So anyway, we will see what happens. But folks, we just have a few minutes left coming down to the end of the program today. And as I remember to say, I said, this is the last Wednesday afternoon program for 2025, because next week will be the day before Christmas, and I'm sure people would be busy with their last minute preparations and arrangement and make sure, if nothing else. I always said Christmas, who matters are the children. Christmas is for children. Children should get at least one item of their wish, one item of their dream, and another item of educational purpose. I was never one in my entire way to deal with toys. Any toy I spend my money on had to have some educational behind it, some to teach the child something. Okay? Because the point is, what good is it, as what use is it that you just play, but nothing is improving, nothing is advancing. And there are so many toys nowadays that can be educational. So just spend the time in the toy shop and the thing, whatever. Yeah, really, at this point, I says everybody should already have their gift for the children, or have them sitting on, they probably sitting on waiting for the post office to deliver, getting stressed out working if it won't come on time. But at any rate, next week is Christmas, next Thursday, and I hope everyone is going to have an enjoyable Christmas, particularly the children. Okay? Make sure the children enjoy themselves. Um, give them what will support them, what will advance them, what will keep them on the right track. Okay? And let's remember, because I'm not going to be around for New Year, I'm asking, I'm pleading for one resolution from everyone, and that is to make public school education a priority in your advocacy, in your lobbying, in your promotion, in your everything, because right after the holidays, and sometimes it starts within the holidays, we start to learn of aspirants for the next legislature, which in this case is going to be the 37th. And as I pointed out before, anyone who advances and comes to you and says that they're going to be a candidate for the 37, please ask them, where does education fit on your agenda? Ask them one time right out. Okay? It is important to us to bring education back to the forefront, back to being the most important, the most important thing that we are going to have. Now, I want to point out that I know, okay, on Sunday, February 8th, because I'm mentioning it because I, that time, will be off to an educational conference, okay, on the mainland. But there is a candidate, an aspirant, someone that I definitely are, I'm 100% in support of, who will be making his introduction into the candidacy for the 37th legislature, and he will be doing that at Prosperity Farm on 6 p.m. on February 8th, and that is my good friend and, well, Moravian Church uh, associate, friend, whatever, Mr. Alvin Milligan. You can't want somebody better than Alvin Milligan to represent you. You know one thing with Alvin? He's going to tell you what's on his mind, honestly and definitely, regardless of what you want to think. The one he spent his whole life dealing with the seniors. And I know they're sorry he gone, because Alvin made seniors feel young again. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yes, Peggy, allow me to finish so that you will be able to get home safely.
All right.
That outage, whether it was 17 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, and 20 it is. It's totally not, what should I say? That's when I choose my word. It's totally wrong for that to happen. You might ask why I'm high tension, power generation, production, transmission, distribution systems are designed to stay full in on, not off. I bought a planetarium in West Palm Beach in 2009. This is 2025. The power has never come as far. I know that they are doing you all have interconnections of state to state. Yes, we have that. But we're going to handle that ourselves. It's almost when guys like me and Ken Mills and some of us engineers in the past had more for that to be done. But they're not doing that. They know why this will happen. And continue to bring white man down from the state that only the no. So we got no excuse now because it's like guys like me and others that run the white boy out. We got black leaders out. But yeah.
But let me ask a question. What would the interconnection, who would the interconnection be? You're talking about connecting St. Croix to St. Thomas?
Well, no, that's what we are doing right away, but that was the problem to start on an well, yes, I should say yes, an interconnection with Puerto Rico. No, that's Puerto Rico takes that back. I know that, but one supports the other. If you know anything about that, so it's very. If you do, then don't try to talk to me as if you know. But it'll make it look like a fool. You know? Not you, baby, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, I know you're talking. I know you were talking to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, my dog like that, exactly who I'm talking to. But the governor, if he thinks he could read out the books in the wall, he could never learn about electrical engineering. We never have to forget the one that I learned. But I just follow. They didn't got the name Democrat, and they got a position cycle. They know it's hard. I have said before, I do not doubt nice abilities as a civil engineer. That's what his degree is in. Not in civil engineering.
We can show you here. Okay.
What they call 6 degrees of engineering.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Well, that's because you're talking to them, you say it's bad, and that's your mouth. The thing is this, baby, we will have to overstand. And listen, let me tell you something. It's got some younger, brighter minds than me, Grant, Valar, and the rest of us, you know. They come in. But we are what I call us, we from the old school. But if you're here or listen to we, are you going to listen to them when there's not much AI and this kind of thing they talk in high science? Give me a break. But again, I could only, like I said, I will never, ever stop giving free advice to anywhere, not just my homeland. I, without anything, which folks about folks continue to remind me that I don't have. But I am walking in freedom land and the media that walk on and feel like just one section of the ground of thousands of acres, hundreds of acres of operation. So don't tell me I don't know it. But this is what we suffer from. I don't know if it is that if I come to fullness, if I say, okay, the rest of my time, but last night, what I'm saying, working less than afterwards, and I don't know if that's what they do, but what I know they're doing. They're running it into the ground so that it will continue to be privatized. 80% privatized already. I don't know what I think the school is. Now let's just like I tell them, I talk to them privately, talk to them on the here. I said, Carl, you never think that? Hello?
I hear you.
Yeah, okay, no, but some of the things was bringing out before. I said to him, Carl, the thing to do is to tell the truth. The governor is your friend. You all came out of a generation now, a young Democrat. I understand that you all know a dominant Democrat. But if you, Carl, going to look bad because the governor does not know the first thing in engineering science. So you, that is an engineer, even doing a different discipline, that it needs to run a plant. You don't need civil engineering to run a plant. You need electrical engineer, plant engineer. But you have to look out for your future, Carl, and your well-being, because don't do what he tell you to do and say what he tell you to say or not to say. Peggy, that thing the other day was nothing but God, let me help you with my words, Lord.
Me know what thing you're talking about. What thing you're talking about?
No, this is 24 hours. They're not that crap.
Oh,
You forgot already?
no.
Peggy, the truth shall set us free. It was not problems with the generators, the lack of generated capacity. It was that they did not have the money to buy the fuel upfront, as they are now demanded to do because they don't pay their bills. Tell the people the truth, man.
Well, you know, you just confirmed something I was thinking, because I was wondering how come nobody came on after, although I might have missed it, to give an explanation as to what the problem was, and you know how it was addressed, and how you know it would not be, it would be avoided in the future. No, I thought about that, and I said, you know, I was wondering if there was a problem with the fuel supply. Because
Exactly. They don't come back and say nothing because they're taking the people to be fools.
well, the people ain't fool, because I'm not the only one who thought that, you know, we were expecting on Monday morning to get that, if nothing else, Carl Knight would be part of the governor's presentation explaining to the public, you know, that we had this island-wide power outage because so and so went down happening in the plant, and this happened, and we had to deal with that, and you know, but no explanation at all that I heard of was given, and that seems strange to me.
Well, it's not strange to me because this is the way these guys operate.
Yeah.
They will tell you what maybe they think you want to hear, what will satisfy you, pacify you. But again, you know, and Carl was on talk to him, you know, that out there, and of course, it's just a heap of laughing and joking. We're going to show on Saturday class, laughing and chatting, and you know, hard.
Well, his favorite appearance, it seems to be now with your friend.
Well, because she said that she, as a classified science teacher, knows more electrical engineering science and owns law than I. I listened to her, I did not respond because what I will tell her on the air, FCC would have taken over. You got me kind of bumble talking foolishness and the air and tell me, well, they're paying money to have a show. Nonsense. Talking a lot of crap.
Well, there are those of us who still remember something of our science from a past instruction, to know that understanding of high school science really doesn't put you at the level of power generation, understanding power generation. So we know the bullcrap the woman talking. That's why I refer to it as a miseducator.
Well, you see, I have to engage now because I don't like it. Not for me, not for my sake. Shame of course not try to put no wall over my people eyes when I think I get rid of it. She got me caught right now.
Well,
I can't wait for the fire.
well, I just I have no problem, because we are promoting and Caledonia Communications. I just wish and hope that she would be a little more accurate with her promotion of things, because, like, for instance, she's always telling people in order to be familiar with the Revised Organic Act, they must read that condensed situation that was developed by Dr. Sekou. That does not give you the understanding of the Revised Organic Act, you know. Really, I think if anything, it would leave you confused. So it is best, if anything, if you got the resources, which I would think the people she's talking to do, to just go on the internet and read the regular Revised Organic Act.
Well, exactly. But you see, Peggy, this is her doing. Now, she don't tell your show. She don't tell another talk show. But she calls Mario and tries to butter him up. But can she see that Mario embarrasses her all the time? I don't know what she wants. That lady told me that the Mario books that I talk about can touch a pamphlet that she could put out. And when I come talking out that she called Mario, she said she didn't say so. Of course, that's what she don't say. But I have a say.
Well, as I said, we come into the end, so I'm going to give you a... Yeah.
This is where I'm going to put a bubble in court. Everything that
No, don't take her to court, because we need all the programs we can on this station that will give people opportunity to interact and to be educated and informed. Just try to do your part to help guide the lady to the information, accurate information and education.
But Peggy, nobody's information is more accurate than all that school. Can you understand why I say that?
Well, I just say, try to help it come more. Everything can stand improvement. Everything, everybody. So just try your best to contribute to that.
I go live and have like white fun right. I got.
Thank you. Enjoy the season. And folks, it is that time. I say again, compliments to the season. Have a safe and happy Christmas, New Year, and make a resolution to have public education system become better quality. Thank you.